various tasks. You can do that every single day if you didn't know that. It just helps the algorithm, since we are technically on borrowed time again on TikTok, and we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. But yeah, do all the various things. It helps the algorithm. It helps get us out to the FYP. And because we haven't been on in a couple of days, we might need a little bit more help getting us out there. So thank you in advance for that. Also, again, pointing your attention to the Discord. You'll find the link to, I should say the link tree. You'll find the link to the Discord in the link tree. If for some reason you're having a difficult time getting into our Discord, please reach out to one of the moderators, or you can just copy the link, post it in a browser, and that should let you in. A couple more things I want to point your attention to. In the link tree, you'll find a link to the Facts merch store. We've got some brand new items in the merch store, including some holiday themed items, but I think this particular series is great. This is the dehumanize this, control this, resist this, mandate this. Those are all available in a variety of colors and sizes in the merch store. And also, the first link that you'll see in the link tree, it'll say Tobias. That happens to be my son. He is an artist. And he and I have been talking about how he wants to get his artwork out there. There's some really, really cool items. Everything in there are original items. His original artwork. If you'd like to get something cool and you want to support a local artist, or I should say a growing artist, and it just who happens to be my kid, that'd be great. I would appreciate it. I know he would appreciate it. Again, that's the first link in the link tree as you're scrolling through. So thank you all in advance. I appreciate you very, very much. We've got a lot to cover today. I think I checked all the boxes. So thank you. By the way, if you are joining us on YouTube, good morning. It's good to see you. Also, I want to remind folks that if you do decide to support the channel through YouTube, you can either subscribe over there. And friends, if I could ask everybody who joins us today, if you've not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel or subscribed to our Twitch channel, please consider doing that. Also, if you donate today via Super Chat, because those are now enabled on YouTube, if I miss you, my apologies. I will do my best to try to multitask. It's not my strong suit. I can do lots of things simultaneously. Hey now, but that's not always the easiest thing for me. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate you very, very much. Thank you. All right, so we've got a few things to cover. I first want to talk about the last 96 hours for yours truly. As you know, I was not on the air Friday. That was a scheduled off day just because we were planning on doing a Facts After Dark on Friday night on the topic of breaking the red pill. Are men capable of loving themselves? And I thought the topic was appropriate. I'm happy to report that we will be doing that this coming Friday night. That's been confirmed. Ash and our friend Adi will be co-hosting with me, and we'll dive into that on Friday night. But it got me thinking because it's been a rough. Let me start by saying this. I have not been completely transparent with you guys, and you know what I mean by that is that I'm a massive advocate for men's mental health, for mental health care in general. And I'm a massive advocate for men's mental health. You guys have heard me talk about it. I've been part of men's groups. Feel like we've at least had conversations here where it's opened men's eyes to be vulnerable and to talk about their own mental health. I've not always taken my own advice. So things have really been piling up. Had an incident in my family on Friday that was pretty scary. Everything's worked out. It's fine. And then, as you recall, I mentioned last week and a half ago, I had a tree fall in my house. And it was very metaphoric to me, to be honest, because the tree fell in my house, right? So it rattled the house, and of course I immediately went to to the worst of the worst. But it's metaphoric and or emblematic because it hit my house and did minor damage. Still had to deal with it, right? It became like life. It became sort of synonymous with lots of things that are going on for all of us. This tree banged into my house. And by the way, our friend Gregory, who does all of our backgrounds for us, also had that incident happen to him. So if he's here this morning and you see Greg's name pop up in the chat, please send him. He got it much worse. And it just reminded me of this whole moment that this tree hit my house, and finally managed. I spent some time with my wood yesterday. Finally got most of it cleaned up. Had to get some help because I just couldn't remove the big tree from the roof of my house. But the roof is damaged, but it's not broken. There's a couple of dents here, but nothing serious. Some branches hit the roof pretty hard, but they didn't puncture anything. And that kind of feels. There's Gregory. Everybody send love to Greg, please. Everybody send some love to Greg because he got it worse off than I did. But it just kind of got me thinking that's sort of the story of how things have been going for a lot of us recently. It's not how hard it's not whether or not you can take a punch, it's whether or not you can get up. And I growing up, I'm an only child. I'm not sure if I've ever told you that, but when you're an only child, especially a Gen X only child, you're feral as fuck, raised on hose water and neglect. You're used to kind of figuring shit out on your own. We weren't allowed to get bored. Like, I'll give you something to play with. Go find something to do, or I'll find you something to do. We've all heard that, right? It's a superpower in a way, being an only child. There's the stigma connected to it that, we're all spoiled, rotten little brats. And I can't speak for everybody. I certainly was not. But it just got me thinking that, you're used to figuring shit out on your own as an only child. And I've always been able to do that, but I've not allowed myself to let enough people in when the time comes, right? So it's been rough. And when I get stressed and when I'm feeling anxious and when I'm dealing with anxiety and when I'm dealing with all kinds of, trauma, I tend to pull into myself and it pushes people away. And I don't ever intentionally mean to do that. I always joke with certain people in our community when somebody responds and says they're fine. I can't stand the word. How are you? Fine. I hate that word. But it's appropriate because when you don't want the attention on yourself, which is part of what I don't want. I don't want people to worry about me because I always feel like people have it much worse, and people do have it much worse. But it's a weird place to be in, especially when you advocate so hard for people taking care of themselves and you don't do enough of it yourself. It's like the water behind the dam, right? All the water's, you're keeping it at bay, but there's so much pressure on the dam. Well, the dam burst a little bit over the weekend. We had an accident in our family. Everybody's fine. No injuries. It could have been a lot worse. The tree, and then it's been a rough year, and then the healthcare situation, and my physical health isn't great, my mental health isn't great. So I guess what I'm saying, in general for everyone, please look out for yourself. If there are people out there, that's the amazing thing. And I mentioned this to our mods last night about this community, our TikTok community, all my followers, the people who join us here every single day, our Discord community, all of us. Everybody in this community is just the levels of grace and compassion and kindness and empathy that you all show towards others is, I can't even describe that as to how powerful that is. And I don't ever take that for granted. Maybe I don't say it enough, but I'll never take that for granted. It's these times because there are people that are out there that are willing to help. Like it personifies the entire do something spirit. Do something to help anybody. Do something to help people that you don't know. Do something to help people that you may never know. That's the whole point behind it. So when you are in a spot, when you're feeling down, right? And you're feeling low and you're feeling like you're at rock bottom, there's always going to be somebody that will help. If you can't find them in your family, if you can't find them in your neighborhood, then you can find them here. Just a kind word, just a joke, whatever that might be. There are little things. So I want to send a personal thank you to all of you. I got so many messages over the last 48 hours from just people just reaching out, just worried about me. I can't, thank you does not even get me close to what I mean, but I'll just say thank you. So I'm not okay, but I'm better than I was. And I don't expect to be okay every day. I really don't. But what we do here, Monday through Friday, 8 till noon Eastern time and 7 to 10 on Friday nights, this is incredibly important to me. And this helps fill me up. Yes, it's a lot of work. Yes, it takes its toll. Yes, I try to find balance between this and my business that I run and the other small business that I'm a part of and other stuff that I'm trying to work on and raising kids and the whole process. We all have stuff to do. But this is a purpose for me. And I'm honored and humbled by the fact that you guys choose to join us every single day. I'm honored and humbled by the fact there are people here who look to us. I'm honored and humbled by the fact that people have made changes in their lives and have done something because we've encouraged people to do those things. That's what keeps me coming back. So from the bottom of my heart to all of you, thank you. Appreciate y'all very much. And thank you for letting me get up on that soapbox for a little bit. I appreciate you guys. All right. So let's talk about the TikTok ban, because technically today's the day. Let me just check in over here for just a second. All right. Got that done. Got it. Okay. All right. I got to go over here. I'm going to try to navigate this. Thank you, Cookie. Appreciate you for Maple syrup budget. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you guys. See that? Look at me. Look at me multitasking. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you, everybody that's over there. Good morning, YouTube. I appreciate you guys very much. Okay, so we've got, you recall, I remember this day. It was just before Inauguration Day last year, and it was a Saturday night, I believe, and we were all in a live together, and we were all like counting down to when we didn't know TikTok was going to go off the air. We didn't know if we were going to be able to connect again. We were all kind of like, what the fuck are we going to do here? What's going to happen? Then gradually people were losing their stream. People were losing the connectivity was weird. Then all of a sudden we went dark. And it was a somber day because we all felt like we were losing this connection that we built through this weird little box that's usually in our hand every single day. It was really wild to think about that. And then ever since then, yes, same handle, Janice. It's the same handle. The facts don't matter, but you can find it in the link tree in my bio. All the links, by the way, to all my socials are in the link tree that's in my bio. So we were all like wondering what was going to happen. Because you remember the I forget what the title of the band was, the TikTok band, whatever it might be. They sold us this lie that it was based on national security, whatever. We all knew that it was just this posturing. And then over the course of the year, we learned that because one of the caveats within the bill, within the law, was the president having jurisdiction on whether or not they can move the date, move the timeline, whatever it might be. And this has happened 4 times already. Extended from March to July, July to September, September till December, and then now. So technically, according to the law, TikTok is banned. So the reason we know that this has been complete fucking bullshit from the very beginning is because of the things that the president has said. And why it's troublesome is because it's just part of the grift, in my opinion. So I'm going to go back in time. This goes back to September. This was the announcement that we heard from the White House was that there was a deal in place. Okay, that there was a deal in place. So I want to go back to this little press conference and this signing ceremony. We'll talk about that, and then I'll bring you up to speed as to what's happening today.
Next, sir, we have an executive order on TikTok. From the first days of your administration, you've charged a team from your administration, led by Vice President Vance, with ensuring that we can preserve TikTok as a platform for the 170 million Americans who use it, while ensuring that their data is properly protected as required by law. With this executive order, you will be effectively bringing into effect the agreement that will save TikTok and ensure that it can operate safely and securely.
So this is interesting because I had a very good talk with President Xi, a lot of respect for him. Hopefully he has a lot of respect for me too. And
we're going to talk about that because that's news to President Xi. I'm just saying.
And we talked about TikTok and other things, but we talked about TikTok and he gave us the go-ahead. You know, it's run by American investors and American companies, great ones, great investors, the biggest. They don't get bigger, I don't imagine.
The fundamental thing that we wanted to accomplish is that we wanted to keep TikTok operating, but we also wanted to make sure that we protected Americans' data privacy as required by law, both because it's the right thing to do, but also because it's a legal requirement of the law that was passed last year by Congress. So we think that we were able to do that. Of course, we're going to keep on working at it, but this deal really does mean that Americans can use TikTok, but actually use it with more confidence than they had in the past, because their data is going to be secure and it's not going to be used as a propaganda weapon against our fellow citizens. We're very excited about it. We appreciate the cooperation of everybody involved. And
it's funny that JD Vance is throwing out terms like TikTok is a propaganda weapon. Okay, JD. Okay, got it.
It's a big day.
TikTok. You know, maybe if you want, we could take a couple of questions on TikTok, and then we're going to get onto something completely different. Okay? Yeah.
Mr. President,
Jeff?
Mr. Vice President, you mentioned that China was resistant. Can you describe where China is now? Are they fully on board with this?
They're on board. I spoke with President Xi. We had a good talk. I told him what we were doing, and he said, go ahead with it.
On the algorithm, it's still being leased coming from China. Are you?
Okay, let's pause right there, because, well, just real quick, let's just rewind just a tiny bit.
Good talk. I told him what we were doing, and he said,
China is now. Are they fully on board with this?
They're on board. I spoke with President Xi. We had a good talk. I told him what we were doing, and he said, go ahead with it.
Okay. Well, that's not, you guys, I know you might find this surprising, but the president wasn't being honest, because there's never been any kind of reporting coming out of the Chinese government. I guess we have to take the president's word for it that President Xi gave them the green light, because in China, government owns businesses. So the approval for the sale of ByteDance TikTok to a U.S. investor or investors has to be approved by the Chinese government. So this is from earlier yesterday. This is reported by the BBC. And we're going to get into the BBC in just a moment, because the president's going to sue them now. And also the president wants to sue the International Criminal Court. And by the way, all these things are going to blow up in his face, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. Also, he's suing the Pulitzer Committee. And that's where it's really going to get interesting, but nothing to worry about, because healthcare is about to crash. But that's fine. We're just going to sue people because you're a petty little bitch. But anyway, a billionaire investor keen on buying TikTok's operations has told the BBC he's been left in limbo as the latest deadline for the app sale looms. The U.S. has repeatedly delayed the date by which the platform's Chinese owner, ByteDance, must sell or be blocked for American users. U.S. President Trump initially gave himself until December the 16th, that would be today, to comply with the law before moving the deadline to the 23rd of January with a new executive order. We're just standing by and waiting to see what happens, says Frank McCourt told BBC News. But if the moment arrives, we're prepared to move forward. We've raised the capital to buy it. We'll see. By the way, Larry Ellison, one of the names mentioned in this, Larry Ellison has some, I'm not making accusations, Larry Ellison has some relationships with a former financier who we've been discussing quite a bit in this app lately, who died in prison, who was part of a global trafficking ring. Yep, just mentioning, just throwing that out there, that Larry Ellison's name has been one of many names mentioned in there. Anyway, the popular short-form video app was due to be banned or sold in the U.S. this past January in accordance with a law passed by Congress. Lawmakers said at the time ByteDance's links to the Chinese government threatened national security and expressed fears Beijing could force the company to hand over data on U.S. users. It's a concern TikTok and its owners have always said is unfounded. By the way, we love the TikTok shop. Don't you guys just love the TikTok shop? We absolutely love the TikTok shop. Love it. Huge fan. The law was signed by President Joe Biden while he was still in office and was upheld by the Supreme Court early this year. Trump and members of the administration have previously claimed, as you just heard, a TikTok deal was done and had the blessings of the Chinese president Xi Jinping. The president also said sophisticated U.S. investors would be involved in acquiring the app, including two of his allies, Oracle chairman Larry Ellison and Dell Technologies' Michael Dell, both of whom gave boatloads of money to the inauguration and to the campaign, both of whom were seated. It's very strategic positions right over the president's shoulder during the inauguration. But of course, nothing to see here. Members of the Trump administration had indicated the deal would be formalized in a meeting between Trump and Xi in October. However, it concluded without an agreement being reached. Neither TikTok's Chinese owner ByteDance nor Beijing have since announced approval of the sale, despite Trump's claims. Wait, what? What? You mean the president wasn't, what? The president wasn't being honest about that? Wow. When Trump signed his most recent executive order extending the deadline to January, he said in an online post it would lead to a big deal being completed. Without naming Trump's hand-selected investors, Mr. McCourt told the BBC he was concerned, quote, about a concentration of power and influence because platforms like TikTok are very influential. Yes, they are. He is part of a group of investors, including Reddit co-founder Alexis Ohanian and Canadian investor Kevin O'Leary. You might know Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank fame. My hope would be that whatever happens, that it is shut down or sold and lands in the hands of people that comply with the law. He said he wants to operate TikTok without any of its Chinese technology, including its powerful recommendation algorithm, and that his Project Liberty has developed other technologies that could be used instead. So, today's the day, obviously. So just in case we don't see ya, bye. Find us on YouTube. I highly doubt it's going to happen. You know, I think the president knows that they can use this tool to spread misinformation. And by the way, if TikTok were to go, we'll be fine because we built a large community. But I'm so concerned about the right-wing creators who have 11 people in their live, including the 9 that are on the panel, where they just spew their hateful bullshit. So, the technical deadline is today, but it looks like it's going to be extended. We don't even know. So listen, don't even worry about it. It's not going anywhere. We have alternative plans. We're working on. It's on me. I'll get it figured out eventually. Again, the multitask. 2 hands. They can do different things at the same time.
Hey now.
Anyway, so we'll keep an eye on that. So yes, we're on Twitch as well. So it's just really interesting that you want to lean in and you want to tell people that there's been this sale, and there's never been a sale. The Chinese government's like, nope, no sale. So shocker, that is another lie. So here's the rest of this presser.
On the algorithm, it's still being leased coming from China. Are you satisfied that there's no security concerns?
Yeah, I am. I really am.
It would push disruptive
The biggest
content?
reason is that it's owned by Americans. It's and very sophisticated Americans and people that love the country, and very smart Americans too.
Okay.
Do you want to see the algorithm suggest more MAGA-related content, prioritize more?
I always like MAGA related. If I could, I'd make it 100% MAGA related. It's actually a good question, but I would, yeah. If I could make it 100% MAGA, I would. But it's not going to work out that way, unfortunately. No, everyone's going to be treated fairly. Every group, every philosophy, every policy will be treated very fairly. Thank you.
Mr. President, do you know?
The company will be valued around $14 billion. We actually think this is a good deal for investors, but ultimately the investors are going to make the determination about what they want to invest in and what they think is a proper value. The most important thing is that it does protect Americans' data security. It ensures TikTok is still accessible. And on this question of the algorithm, which we've heard this a lot, what this deal ensures is that the American entity and the American investors will actually control the algorithm. We don't want this used as a propaganda tool by any foreign government. We want to make sure that our people and our investors actually make these decisions based on what's good for their business as opposed to what's good for another government's propaganda arm. So that's what we've done with this deal. I think it's very good.
Isn't it hilarious when you hear JD talk? He talks about these these propaganda influencers. Meanwhile, he fucking lives in it. He goes to these spaces. He's got his little communities. He's got the mouthpiece that is fucking Fox News. Talk about propaganda influence. Like, give me a break.
For the American people, and as the president said, young people love this. We actually want everybody to access this, whether they're MAGA or not. We just want it to be fair. We want it to be fair to everybody, and we think that's what's going to happen with this new arrangement.
Well, the U.S. So, Mr. President and Mr. Vice President, the U.S. company could change the algorithm to push different content? Is that?
The U.S. company will have control over how the algorithm pushes content to users, and that was a very important part of it. We thought it was necessary for the national security element of the law. We also just think it's important to protect American users. Again, we want users to use this platform the way they want to. We want the business to make decisions about content based on the interests of the business and based on the interests of the users, and that's what we think will happen with this new arrangement.
I mean, it's just. Anyway, I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. We don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, they're going to figure out a way to extend this. They can just change the law too. They can find. Although, and we're going to get into the destruction that is the Republican Party in Congress that is happening right in front of us. But unless they change the law, they're just going to have to continue to kick this can down the road. The Supreme Court's probably going to side with Trump no matter what he decides, but we'll see. Anyway, I forgot to mention, by the way, check out the Antifa Field Commander t-shirt, anti-racist, anti-fascist on the back. Pick that up in the merch store as well. Somebody just asked about that. We'll see. We'll keep you updated. We'll continue to do our thing. Please consider, subscribing to our YouTube channel. Don't forget about subscribing to Twitch as well. So, yeah. Anyway, I just think it's to me, it's just the blatant hypocrisy. So let's. We need to cover the situation with Rob Reiner. How do I want to lean into this? I've been thinking about this, and I think what I'm going to do, Sam, this might get us a restriction, so I just want to play this, but I decided I was going to go a different direction. We're going to talk about what the president said because we need to. But before we do that, let's pay tribute to Rob Reiner in one of the most incredible movie scenes in movie history from one of my all-time favorite movies. This is Spinal Tap.
Listen for a minute. The sustain, listen to it.
I'm not hearing anything.
You would, though, if it were playing, because it's famous for its sustain. I mean, you can just hold it.
Well, I mean, so you'd have to...
You can go and have a bite. No, you'll still be hearing that one.
Yeah.
Can you hold us a sec?
You sure?
This one, this, of course, is a custom 3 pickup. Paul, this is my radio unit.
Oh,
so I strap this piece on, you know, right down in here when I'm on stage.
It's wireless.
Wireless, exactly.
Yeah.
And I can play without all the muck.
You can run anywhere on stage with that.
Oh, this is special too. Look, see, still got the old tagger on it. So you never even played it. See?
You just bought it.
Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
I wasn't going to touch it.
No, don't touch it.
I was just pointing at it.
Well, don't point even.
Don't even point?
No, it can't be played. Never. I mean,
can I look at it?
No, you've seen
Don't
enough of that
at
one. This is a top to, what we use on stage, but it's very, very special because if you can see, the numbers all go to 11. Look, right across the board. 11, 11,
and most of
11,
the
and
amps go up to 10.
Exactly.
Does that mean it's louder? Is it any louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it? It's not 10. You see, most blokes, be playing at 10. You're on 10 here, all the way up, all the way up, all the way up. You're on 10 on your guitar. Where can you go from there? Where?
I don't know.
Nowhere, exactly. What we do is if we need that extra push over the cliff, you know what we do?
Put it up to 11.
11, exactly. One louder.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
Yes, they do. It's just a tragic story. It's just a tragic story. And I've been really thinking about how I want to cover this, only in that I want to make sure that we are acknowledging that a senseless loss of life. It does appear that their son has been named as a key suspect. Rob and Michelle Reiner lived a very productive and amazing life, and it's just tragic that it would happen. The problem is, being cruel is a choice. When you have the president of the United States, who's got the biggest bully pulpit in the world, go out and say this.
A very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away together with his wife Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. He was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession of President Trump, with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness. And with the golden age of America upon us, perhaps like never before, may Rob and Michelle rest in peace.
When you lose some of your most hardcore followers, we're gonna play some more sound in just a moment. But on True Social, I was looking through some of the comments, and most of the people, when it's not myself and or Gregory really trolling the fucking president on True Social posts, you get a lot of his sycophantic fans. And I'm just gonna read you some of the comments that people left. These people, you can go by their profiles, are hardcore MAGA, at least according to their profiles. I'll just read a few. Sir, Mr. President, I love you. I support you 100%. I do not support this post. Highly inappropriate, and it puts us in their box. Tacky and tasteless. Also, as a MAGA, this is from PJC USA. As a MAGA, I've tried my best to support you every step of the way, but not this time. Every human, I repeat, every human deserves respect during something like this. I'm ashamed that you posted that. You must humble yourself and ask for forgiveness. It was in what was a very huge lapse in judgment. Mr. President, the man and his wife were brutally unalived. If you cannot say something nice about them, it is best to just not say anything at all. The Patriots Armor Ministry. Mr. President, with respect, this isn't how a Christian should speak about anyone, living or dead. We can oppose ideas without mocking a person's suffering or death. Let no corrupt word proceed out of your mouth. Ephesians 4:29. Iwagat, the left celebrated Charlie Kirk's passing. We mourn Rob Reiner's and his wife's death. We're not the same. R.I.P. I love you, but this is seriously distasteful. Take down this post, Mr. President. It is tasteless and inappropriate. It is unbecoming of you and the presidency. Okay, boss. The man was unalived along with his wife. You took this one step too far, sir. On and on and on and on. When you have that group of people who have been loyal to a fault, first of all, it's the hypocrisy. That's not lost on me, right? That their hypocrisy. Please, guys, don't report. Please don't do that. Just let the mods handle it, guys. I would just ask you guys, please don't report people. I have the best mods in the business. Just let them do their thing. They got it covered, okay? I appreciate you guys. It's just because it affects the algorithm, so please just let the mods take care of it. Thank you all very, very much. I appreciate you looking out for us, but we got you. Just enjoy the show. Appreciate that. When you've got some of the most loyalist, sycophantic fans calling out that shit, again, like I said, the hypocrisy is not lost on me, that they're saying things like, well, we would never support. Meanwhile, we know what they've said about George Floyd, et cetera, et cetera. I will say this publicly. Charlie Kirk was a despicable piece of shit human being. He was a racist. He was a sexist. He was a misogynist. He was just a horrible, horrible, horrible human being. And no one deserves to lose their life from a political violence perspective. Period. No one should lose their life for what they believe. Period. Two things can be true. The President of the United States, someone who has the biggest bully pulpit in the world, had the ability to turn down the temperature at numerous steps and has never done it. And what we are seeing now from people in the right, remember, I go to right-wing spaces, so you don't have to, you're welcome, is that they are now, in some cases, advocating for this, but not as much as you would think, because people are like, this was just a bit too far. It gets worse, though, because he had an opportunity. He really had an opportunity to turn down the velocity, and he did not. Let me find this one particular piece of sound for you. And I'm going to play some sound from Megyn Kelly, because she is the one who, this really changed everything to me. So I'm going to play this sound for you. Hang on one second. Everybody keep tapping, please. Tapping is clapping, liking is loving, sharing is caring. I appreciate you very much. Don't forget, we are crowdfunded here. If you want to support the channel, best way to do that is through the various pay apps. It's Cash App, it's PayPal, it's Venmo, and we thank you. Hang on one sec. Okay, so I'm going to start with what he said about the follow-up to when he was asked in the Oval Office about, if you would like to, any chance you want to change your comments, sir. So here you go.
Republicans have denounced your statement on Truth Social after the murder of Rob Reiner. Do you stand by that post?
Well, I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned. He said he knew it was false. In fact, it's the exact opposite, that I was a friend of Russia, controlled by Russia. It was the Russia hoax. He was one of the people behind it. I think he hurt himself in career-wise. He became like a deranged person, Trump derangement syndrome. So I was not a fan of Rob Reiner at all in any way, shape, or form. I thought he was very bad for our country. Yeah.
It was a simple question. It was a simple question. Okay. I'll take you back to when after Charlie Kirk lost his life, and this is what the president. Remember what the president just said. Again, that horrible, despicable post that he wrote, getting criticized from members of his own party, some of his most loyal followers, some of the people that he's relied on the most. They're calling it out. He had a chance to kind of to walk it back, but nope. Not only did he not walk it back, but he doubled down. This is what he had to say after the Charlie Kirk assassination.
It's a long past time for all Americans and the media to confront the fact that violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year, in the most hateful and despicable way possible.
A number of Republicans.
So you have that. You also have Megyn Kelly. This was right after Charlie Kirk lost his life. I'm going to play a couple of little snippets here, just because I'm trying to paint the contextual picture here as to the amazing amount of fucking hypocrisy. They wouldn't have said a word about Rob Reiner if Donald Trump did not do what he did, literally calling for whatever the fuck he said. Here, this is Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly, who has gone on record being pro-life. Megyn Kelly, who herself has said the left is perpetuating too much political violence. Okay. Really, Megyn?
Seems very clear to me. My only hope is that I can be there in the room when they flip the switch and take his life. I want him dead. I want the death penalty handed down against him.
Nice.
And anyone who helped him. And I will be gleeful on the day it is carried out.
Lovely. Yeah, that's just lovely. Yep, that's Megyn Kelly. Well, we also have a little bit of sound for as a follow-up, because this is they're now addressing what the president has done in regard to Rob Reiner's passing. So this was again on her podcast, and here's a little bit more sound for you.
Megan, I don't know if you saw that video that Andrew Colvett posted of Rob Reiner reacting after Charlie was killed and after the memorial.
Yeah, I want to. This is really, really important. So Rob Reiner went on Piers Morgan's show after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, okay? And I want you to hear what he said, what Rob Reiner said about Charlie Kirk compared to what Donald Trump said about Rob Reiner.
Have it. We have it. Hold on, I'll show it. Here it is, SOT 13.
When you first heard about the murder of Charlie Kirk, what was your immediate gut reaction to it?
Well, horror. Absolute horror. And I unfortunately saw the video of it, and it's beyond belief what happened to him, and that should never happen to anybody. I don't care what your political beliefs are. That's not acceptable. That's not a solution to solving problems. And I felt like what his wife said at the service at the memorial they had was exactly right. And totally, I believe, I'm Jewish, but I believe in the teachings of Jesus, and I believe in doing to others, and I believe in forgiveness. And what she said to me was beautiful and absolutely, she forgave his assassin. And I think that is admirable.
And the reason I thought of that,
could there be a more stark contrast? Literally, again, I will reiterate. Charlie Kirk was a piece of shit human being, no doubt about it. Racist, misogynist, bigot, homophobe, transphobe, just a vile, disgusting human being. Did not deserve to lose his life because of the things he stood for, even though I disagree with him. Did not deserve to lose his life, and anybody celebrating that should be ashamed of themselves. How ironic though that Megyn Kelly literally wanted to celebrate going into the rooms when they flipped the switch on Tyler Robinson, so to speak, and the president of the United States responding to Rob Reiner losing his life because the president didn't like the things that Rob Reiner said about him, and literally said that he's a deranged human being. This, that. Rob Reiner himself, when asked about Charlie Kirk, said what he said. You heard it. This is what I'm talking about how being cruel is a fucking choice. there is no one, there is absolutely no one that should be defending what the president said. There's people on this app, the right-wing grifters, because there are tons of them out there, who built their fucking platform on saying, I am CK. You motherfucking cowards, what the fuck do you want to say now? Your president celebrating or basically cheering on the fact that Rob Reiner lost his life? Give me a fucking break. You are the most despicable, vile people. You will take every opportunity you can to build your fucking grift. Seriously. That's all it is. You don't give a shit. It's politically convenient for you. It's financially convenient for you. You don't care. You don't care about any of it. You don't care about any of it. None of it. Does it matter? That's why when I say to you guys, we don't need them. We don't. We don't need them. Don't need them at all. Never did, never have, never will. What we need are people engaging in our system. People not being apathetic. People being informed. People wanting to make a difference in their lives and other people's lives, the lives of people you don't know. No more apathy, no more entitlement, more people. Do something. Working on this Do Something tour. I've talked to you guys about it before. More to come on that. What I think we're going to do is we're going to probably build something in our Discord channel, because I've had so many people reach out to me, say they want to help. They've offered me their home as I travel the country. They've offered me support, and we're going to try to keep it straight. And I love all of you for that. We're going to try to get it a bit more organized, because things are starting to happen, and I want to make sure that it does. So yeah, there's that. Anyway, how amazing is it though? Or I shouldn't say, how ironic is it that the president of the United States getting called out by his own party, and there's still people like, yeah, he deserved it. If you can sit there and say that 10 toes down, then why the fuck are you triggered by people on the left saying that Charlie deserved it, even though I don't believe that? I don't believe anybody should be losing their life. First of all, the circumstances are completely different. Completely different. Seems like the Reiner son had lots of issues, sadly. Another argument for how do we address mental health care in our country, because we don't, especially for men. It's just so fucking disgusting that that's the road they want to go down. But I'm not surprised. Are any of you surprised by this? Of course not. All right, let me just check over here real quick. Okay. Speaking of disgusting, by the way, in case you didn't know, three more boat strikes in the Caribbean, this time in the Pacific. That story's not going away. And we're not going to let it go away. I think there's a lot of people now that have been that have shifted away from calling it a war crime. Mark Warner from Virginia has shifted away from calling it a war crime, and he makes a really good point. We're not at war just because the president says we are. We're not at war. It's schmurder, in my opinion, which is part of the churning and burning in the administration as to who they want to, I don't know, scapegoat. I had the pleasure of being on a podcast last Thursday night called the Left Wing Pod, and we were talking about ranking who in the cabinet is likely to lose their job first. And I don't know. It kind of goes around and around and around and around and around. But every single example of why these people, in my opinion, are just vile human beings shows its ugly head every single day. I've been wanting to talk about this, and because I wasn't on the show Friday, I think I'm going to cover it now. Because it's the most glaring example. This hearing with the Kristi Noem, and I'm going to play it.
Worst, a Purple Heart recipient, a military spouse.
Hang on one second. Everybody keep tapping, please. Don't forget there's a gifting goal today. Don't forget we are crowdfunded. I'd love to take care of that goal today. That'd be great, friends. Appreciate you all very, very much. Here we go.
A Purple Heart recipient, a military spouse, the father of 3 Marines. How many United States military veterans have you deported?
Sir, we have not deported U.S. citizens or military veterans.
Madam Secretary, we are joined on Zoom by a gentleman named Sejun Park. He is a United States Army combat veteran who was shot twice while serving our country in Panama in 1989. Like many veterans, he struggled with PTSD and substance abuse after his service. He was arrested in the 1990s for some minor drug offenses, nothing serious. He never hurt anyone besides himself, and he's been clean and sober for 14 years. He is a combat veteran. a Purple Heart recipient. He has sacrificed more for this country than most people ever have. Earlier this year, you deported him to Korea, a country he hasn't lived in since he was 7 years old. Will you join me in thanking Mr. Park for his service to our country?
Sir, I'm grateful for every single person that has served our country and follows our laws.
Can you please tell Mr. Park why you deported him?
Every one of them needs to be enforced.
But you understand that many veterans struggle with PTSD, many veterans struggle with substance abuse challenges. This man took 2 bullets for our country. And Madam Secretary, you've already heard the story of Lance Corporal Alejandro Barranco, the United States Marine veteran who is behind you, who also has 2 brothers who are United States Marines. Will you thank Lance Corporal Barranco for his service?
Thank you for your service.
His father, Narcisco Barranco, is a landscaper in California who has lived peacefully in our country for 30 years and has no criminal record. Last spring, while he was mowing the lawn at an IHOP, ICE agents tackled him in the street and imprisoned him for weeks. A peaceful, hard-working man who raised 3 sons to be United States Marines. We need men of that character in this country.
This is an opportunity to remind everybody that every person that's in this country illegally has an opportunity to voluntarily go home and come back the right way.
Man,
he raised 3 United States Marines. He has been living here peacefully, doing his job for 30 years. You have discretion. You are choosing not to use it. Madam Secretary, you promised America that you would go after the worst of the worst. But these people are not the worst of the worst. A Purple Heart recipient, a military spouse, the father of 3 Marines. And it's not just veterans and military families. You are locking up and deporting children with cancer, mothers with babies in the NICU, United States citizens. There are many problems. State citizens. There are many problems.
So, first of all, Mr. Magaziner, that is what many people who support Democrats in Congress have been waiting for. That kind of energy. So the question that we have to ask our friends on the right is, were you watching that, and are you aware that the Department of Homeland Security Secretary flat out fucking lied to you? And then to bring the receipts like he did, you deported a combat vet. You deported the wife of a combat vet. Purple Heart recipients, wounded. I'll reset my gifting goal. Thank you. Wounded. Like, do you not give a shit about veterans? I mean, we know you don't fucking care. You show us every single day. We know that. But how do you explain it? That's what I'm asking. How do you explain it? How do you explain the fact that you were told you're only going after the worst of the worst, and yet you're deporting combat vets? Someone who hasn't lived in the country of Korea since he was 7 years old, nearly 40 years? Being cruel is a choice. It wasn't a choice she had to make. Why did she make it? This is the problem, right? When we talk about this is the problem that people on the right don't seem to understand. We, people who are humanists, people who care and are compassionate towards others, understand the fact that we have a broken immigration system. There's no one here denying that. No one is here denying it. We would prefer to choose and solve the problem through legislative means that would involve Congress, that would involve passing laws to give us more judges, to give us more resources, to change the timing. For example, the bipartisan bill sponsored by Senator Langford last year that would have done wonders for those kinds of things. But no. We can't do that, can we? No, instead, we're going to have the Gestapo roaming around American streets and then rounding up people who put their hand up to defend this fucking country. A combat vet, wounded in battle. Dozens of other examples. Hundreds of other examples. Hundreds. And you're seeing, and even just the chat scrolling by this morning, I know most of you are trolls, because none of you would show your face and defend that. None of you. You got flat out lied to. She under oath in this hearing. Have you ever deported a U.S. veteran? No. Really? How about this guy? How about this guy? You just deported him. No problem there, though? Guess not. No problem there. Let me bring up Blue. Blue's going to do our immigration update. Good morning, my friend. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm good, thank you. What you got for us?
So, for this week's quick hits, the naturalization ceremonies halted for nationals of 19 countries. USCIS has indefinitely paused naturalization ceremonies for approved applicants from 19 specific countries, with reports confirming that many individuals are being turned away at the venue despite having already cleared every vetting hurdle. This opaque decision inflicts deep psychological harm on families who have meticulously followed the law, leaving them stranded without a timeline or recourse just as they reach the finish line. By revoking the promise of citizenship at the final moment, the administration is quite literally moving the goalposts, prioritizing bureaucratic exclusion over the dignity of future Americans. So much for doing it the right way.
So much. I was going to say that. So much for doing it the right way. Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
And the Supreme Court agrees to hear birthright citizenship challenge. The Supreme Court has agreed to review a challenge to the 14th Amendment, specifically examining the administration's attempt to deny citizenship to U.S.-born children based on their parents' immigration status. This case threatens to upend the foundational rule of American belonging, potentially plunging hospitals and families into administrative chaos and leaving countless children at risk of statelessness. By treating birthright citizenship as a policy lever rather than a constitutional guarantee, the administration undermines the core democratic promise that equality begins at birth, not at the pleasure of the government.
Cruelty is the point. Friends, if you don't follow Blue, please do. Blue goes live regularly, and we appreciate Blue being our sort of immigration expert who comes and brings us the facts when we have these conversations. So thank you, friend. I appreciate you being here. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me.
You got it. See you later. Again, like, don't we have other things, more important things to do? Really? Is this really what we need to think about? Where are people who are born here? Where are they supposed to go? They've never lived someplace else. And we certainly know that this is an ethnic cleansing opportunity, without question, spearheaded by this guy over here. No doubt about it. Healthcare would be nice. I agree. These are all elements of Project 2025 for sure. I want to just in case you were not aware, the president of the United States is now focused on the Arc de Triomphe in D.C. Yeah, he wants to build an arc. Like he wants to build like the archway like they have in Paris. Taxpayer funded. An homage to him. Which is totally fine, right? Nothing to see here. As millions of Americans, yours truly included, are facing a 100 to 150% increase in healthcare costs that happens on January 1st. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. People now not wanting to go on the record as being donors. Some people saying that they don't want to be connected to the administration. Jamie Dimon has said, I don't want to be, I'm not going to donate to the ballroom. Now the ballroom is being paused because they might have violated the law. But again, nothing to see here, right? Nothing to see here. It's totally fine. Totally fine. Kristi Noem flat out lying like not just stretching the truth, but just fucking lying. Just absolutely lying. But nothing to see here, right? It's totally fine. Totally fine. We're good. We're not deporting veterans. We would never do that. That'd be cruel. While you're deporting veterans. Yeah. Nice. Really nice. Super cool. Do people care? Do any of you have any integrity whatsoever? Why are you not chirping the loudest? You people claim to care about your vets. You care about active duty. You care about law enforcement. Why are you not chirping the loudest? He had no criminal record, had some minor drug offenses. Who gives a shit? Like you obviously don't care about that because you're pardoning drug dealers all over the place. But again, nothing to see here, right? Nothing to see here.
Hi, brother.
How are you? I'm going to put you on mute. You can stay in the comments, okay? You want to help our friend out, Timo? Please do that, you guys. If you want to help him out, help support Syrian refugees. If you got some coins you want to send his way, that'd be fantastic. I appreciate that. Listen, I don't know where all this is going to end, but I am so tired of the cruelty. This is part of what I've been struggling with because we see it every single day. People ask me, how do you cover this stuff every day? We have a job to do. This is what we do. Like, this is not my job. I'd love to be able to make a living doing this. Right now I can't, but we have to cover the news. And when you see things like what Kristi Noem did, and you hear things that come out of the president, thank you, Timo. We love you, friend. Thank you guys. You guys are awesome. Appreciate you, friend. It takes its toll, right? This shit takes its toll when you hear this level of cruelty. We're gonna round up American citizens. We're gonna separate families. We're gonna go drag kids out of classrooms and zip tie them. We're gonna round up veterans, combat vets who took a fucking bullet for our country on 2 occasions, Purple Heart recipients, Gold Star families. It's ridiculous. We're gonna cover it. We're gonna call it out, but it takes its toll. So please make sure that you are protecting your peace at all costs, because this shit is it's not normal. We have to stop normalizing it. There are people in this country who just do not care. The Slim Reaper's a perfect example of that. Someone who's a pathetic human being himself, who doesn't give a shit about this fellow. All he cares about is the narrative. That's all he cares about. That's it. Doesn't give a shit about doesn't care about veterans, doesn't care about law enforcement, doesn't care about active duty, doesn't care about the Constitution, hates his own country. Hates his own country. Can you imagine being that desperate for attention that you would go 10 toes down in support of these kinds of things? You can never walk into a room again. You know what you should do? You should go to a VFW, or you should go to an American Legion. And you should walk in there and say, hey, you know what? I totally celebrate that combat vet person who took 2 bullets for our country, who took an oath, even though I'm a pussy ass bitch, who took an oath to the Constitution to defend it. I'm totally fine with that person being deported to a country he hasn't lived in since he was 7 years old. And watch what happened. Watch what would happen, you pathetic piece of fucking shit. Watch what would happen. You wouldn't do that, would you? You'll just sit in your little corner and you'll spew the fucking hatred, and you'll spew the violent rhetoric, and you'll be like, own the libs. Okay. Nothing to see here. You can go camp out at the white supremacy house. I mean, the White House. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Anyway. Just watching it happen, like every single day, just watching it happen. And then, that hearing, then of course she left to go to a FEMA meeting that didn't exist, that the meeting was canceled. The meeting was canceled. So I still will go on the record to say that I believe that it's Kristi Noem is going to be the first to go. Because, first of all, she's a woman. It's easy for Trump to justify that because he's a misogynistic pig. She'll be the first to go. Then you think about Pam Bondi. By the way, December 19th is Friday. That's the day we're supposed to get the DOJ releasing all the files they have because of the Epstein Transparency Act. What story am I not telling? What story am I not telling, Jim Bob? What story? What story? It was a simple question. Have you ever deported a veteran? And she said no, but yet she did. What am I not telling? What story am I not telling? See, this is the problem with people like you, Jim Bob. You can chirp from the cheap seats. You can't make a stand for anything. You just want to complain because you're pathetic as well. Get a fucking hobby. Just try that. Get a fucking hobby. Okay. We don't care. Again, lots of Democrats on the list. Do you think any of us care? We don't care. To me, I think this is the entire argument. People on the right think that people on the left, people who vote for Democrats, that we are tribal like they are, meaning that we will do anything to support our guy, no matter our guy or our girl who just does despicable shit. No, that's not us. That's you guys. We're not. It's not sports for us. Okay, we're not in it to own the conservatives. We want everybody connected to these horrible crimes against women and girls to be called out. We don't care. You guys are the ones that care. You guys are the ones who cannot stand up to the person who despises you. Your own president fucking hates you, uses you like a tool because he knows he can, punishes you for voting for him. I'm going to take away your health care. I'm going to take away your SNAP benefits. I'm going to drive your prices up. I'm going to lie to you about it. I'm going to lie to you about this. I'm going to lie to you about that. And I'm going to laugh all the way to the fucking bank. And we're here like, we fucking told you so. We told you this was going to happen. But you don't give a shit. That's fine. We'll remember. Speaking of that, there is a gentleman. This gentleman's name is, hang on one second. His name is Joshua Hames. I'm going to play you some of this sound because as we talked about, to me, a lot of this hatred and cruelty, let me just check here real quick. Awesome. Thank you guys over there. Thank you. Thank you, YouTubers. I appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. I'm going to play some sound from this gentleman by the name of Joshua Hames. It's pretty triggering. There's context. Okay. I firmly believe because of Project 2025, and we're going to get into this because the whole this whole new national security sort of manifesto that's been released by the White House and by the Pentagon, in my mind, is a Christian nationalist manifesto. And if you don't believe me, the last paragraph, the last section of this national security strategy that's being broken down and being panned by our allies all over the fucking world, the last section is on Africa. Okay. For far too long, American policy in Africa has focused on providing and later on spreading liberal ideology. That's all you really need to know. The United States of America's national security strategy, okay? For far too long, American policy in Africa has focused on providing and later spreading liberal ideology. The U.S. should instead look to partner with select countries to ameliorate conflict, foster mutually beneficial trade relationships, and transition from a foreign aid paradigm to an investment and growth paradigm capable of harnessing Africa's abundant natural resources and latent economic potential. Nothing to see here, right? Yeah, nothing to see here. So let's listen to Joshua Hames because this guy is he's a tried and tested white Christian nationalist. He's got some interesting connections to our government. I'll break it down for you in just a second. Here you go. Trigger warnings.
Slavery is not inherently evil. I know. Some of you guys are upset by that. Some of you guys are saying, I've been saying that for years. Okay, I'll take it a step further. It is not inherently evil to own another human being. I know, just wait. Some of you guys are really upset, but let's talk through this because it is very important that every Christian affirm what I just said. And not only should they affirm it, every Christian in today's society should be able to defend what I just said. Okay? Every Christian should be able to defend it. Big evangelicalism has been getting this wrong for years, basically since the Genesis, since the advent of Big Eva. They haven't had a good answer for the slavery issue. All right, Christians in America have been led astray on this topic. They've been led to believe things that the Bible doesn't teach. And when we go beyond the Bible, there are dire consequences.
His name is Joshua Hames. Joshua Hames is a podcaster and former pastoral intern at the church attended by, wait for it, U.S. SecDef Pete Hegseth. Hames hosts the Reformation Red Pill podcast on which Hegseth has appeared multiple times, and the two share Christian nationalist and theocratic viewpoints that have generated significant controversy. Hames is a member of the Pilgrim Hill Reformed Fellowship, or PHRF, which is aligned with the Communion of Reformed Evangelical Churches founded by Pastor Douglas Wilson. Douglas Wilson, by the way, Pete Hegseth's spiritual advisor. Hegseth is also a proud member of that church. Hegseth has appeared on 4 episodes of Hames's podcast where they discuss topics like reforming education, Christian approaches to culture. Hegseth has also publicly endorsed Hames's podcast and social media content. Both men align with Christian nationalist positions and the sphere sovereignty doctrine, which advocates for all aspects of human life and government to be bound by a vision of biblical law. Hames has gained attention for voicing extreme and controversial positions on his podcast and social media, which critics find alarming given his connection to the Secretary of Defense. These include capital punishment, advocating for public executions for crimes such as adultery and abortion, suggesting a public firing squad as a preferred method, slavery, stating that the Bible does not explicitly condemn slavery as sinful, and argues that the institution of slavery is, quote, not inherently evil. Okay, calling for a ban on LGBTQ plus adoptions, describing homosexuality as uniquely evil, and appearing to call for drowning of LGBTQ plus people, especially those that are participating in pride marches. Women's rights, supporting the position shared by other CREC leaders that women should not have the right to vote in the United States. Immigration and race, claiming that liberalism is a greater threat than neo-Nazism and endorsing aspects of the racist Great Replacement theory. That guy has hosted the assistant manager to the assistant manager of war crimes on his podcast. That guy, Joshua Hames. Once again, here's the beginning.
The institution of slavery is not inherently evil.
Okay.
I know. Some of you guys are upset by that. Some of you guys are saying, I've been saying that for years. Okay, I'll take it a step further. It is not inherently evil to own another human being. I know, just wait. Some of you guys are really upset, but let's talk through this because it is very important that every Christian affirm what I just said. And not only should they affirm it, every Christian in today's society should be able to defend what I just said, okay? Every Christian should be able to defend it. Big evangelicalism has been getting this wrong for years, basically since the advent of Big Eva. They haven't had a good answer for the slavery issue. All right, Christians in America have been led astray on this topic. They've been led to believe things that the Bible doesn't teach. And when we go beyond the Bible, there are dire consequences.
It's funny just watching the chat, watching the Christian nationalists and the white supremacists in here, because they show up and celebrating this. They're not hiding from it anymore, friends. They're not hiding from it. They're just doubling down on it. Do you want to say that it's fake news that Pete Hegseth and these guys connected? You can try. But he's been on his podcast numerous times. They share the same ideology. We certainly know that Pete Hegseth, his disregard for any marginalized community, anyone, right? Anyone. Nothing to see here, though, right? Totally fine. Nothing to see here. Celebrating suffering, celebrating under the premise of your faith, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, speaking of that, Mike Johnson was cornered recently in regard, again, Mike Johnson is who Mike Johnson is. We know of Mike Johnson's Christian nationalist tendencies. He was recently cornered by Manu Raja in regard to what the president said. Okay, this is specifically as it relates to Rob Reiner. And here's the sound for you. This is scary.
Speaker, did you see you condemn Trump's post about Rob?
What are your thoughts about what President Trump said about Rob Reiner at his press conference today?
I don't do ongoing commentary about everything that's said by everybody in government every day. We are trying to bring down healthcare costs for the American people. They're very important votes, very important issues, and that's what we're focused on.
I gave
commentary this morning, and you all heard it.
Mr.
Yeah, that's nice, right? Yeah, I'm just gonna push it aside, being the God-fearing man that I am. Yeah, nothing to see here. It's totally fine. I'm not going to answer the question, because if I answer the question, then Daddy's going to be pissed at me. Yeah. It's wild, right? But nothing to see. It's fine. It's fine. I'm just going to hide in my little space.
I'm not going to hide in my space. I'm not going to hide in my space.
You had a little comment that said, "Do you think I'm?"
I did have a comment. I did.
Yeah.
What do you think you're doing? You think you're helping humanity? Is that what you think you're doing, brother? Like, for real?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
You do?
I do.
Why?
I do.
Because that's your opinion?
Well, I'm entitled to my opinions on things, aren't you?
You are, absolutely.
Right. So
your opinion's helping everybody?
Did I say that?
No, you did say that, because you're here helping everybody, saying what you're saying.
No, is my opinion helping you?
No.
So therefore, I'm not helping. Then therefore, my opinion's not helping everybody, right?
It's not. Absolutely not.
Do you have any? So are you a Trump supporter?
No, I don't support anybody, son.
You don't support anybody?
I'm 49 years old. I don't support anybody. I'm not a follower.
So what do you do?
Hold on. I'm not a follower of anybody.
Then what do you stand for?
I don't follow anybody.
I'm asking you, what do you stand for?
Somebody.
Asking you. No, I'm asking you, what do you stand for, sir? What do you stand for? What's important?
What do you mean, what do I stand for? I stand for humanity.
So
it's
you stand
easy.
for humanity.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? What does that mean? You stand for humanity. What does that mean?
That stands for I support my kids. I want them to have a good life. I don't care about any follower that you follow. You follow somebody.
I don't follow. No, I care about
Absolutely
my kids too.
You do.
But do you care about my kids?
Yeah.
I care about your kids.
Yeah. So do I.
Great. So how can you make
But
any
you
kind of
follow
change?
somebody.
Who do I follow?
You follow Biden.
No, I don't.
So who do you follow then, son?
It's not about. I'm not your son. I don't follow anybody. I don't. I believe. I stand for things.
You hate
That's why
Trump.
Trump is a vile human being.
But you hate Trump.
It's not hate. He's a vile human being.
Okay. So who do you hate?
I don't walk around with hatred, but it sounds like you do. Who do you hate?
No. You walk around with hatred.
No. Again, I just answered your question. Who do you hate?
No, you walk around with hatred.
Okay.
I don't walk around with hatred.
I don't walk around with hatred either. So why is it that I cannot walk around with it, but I can't, but you can? Or vice versa? I can, but you can't?
You're trying to flip it on me. Nope.
No,
that don't work.
Who do you hate? Who do you hate?
I don't hate anybody.
So why do you think I do?
Because all you do is come up here and talk on Trump every day.
You
have hatred. You need help, son. You need help.
Sir, this is a political show, right?
That's fine.
Okay. So
you need help.
Am I not supposed to talk about the president?
I don't know. I mean, are you? Is that what you do every day? You want to get up and preach hatred?
How do you have a political show and not talk about the president?
I'm just saying, you wake up every day and you preach hatred.
No, I don't. I preach humanity,
100%
decency.
No, it's not. No, it's not decency.
Maybe because you have hatred in your heart.
No, I don't.
Well, it sounds like
you do. You wake up every day and preach hatred upon somebody else.
How am I preaching hatred? Tell me.
Because that's what you do every day. You wake up.
So
and
tell me how.
Hatred.
So you watch me every day.
No, I see you every day.
Oh, but you obviously you have enough.
I can't help but see you every day. I'm on TikTok all the time.
Well, maybe you should get a job.
Well, maybe you should.
I have a job.
So do I.
What do you do?
I'm a realtor. To be honest,
you're a realtor.
I'm a realtor.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so you work for yourself.
Yeah. I got to pay taxes.
Great. So do I. So who did you vote for?
Trump.
So when I asked you before, you said you didn't vote. Now it's coming out that you did vote for Trump, right? So, okay, good. When I asked you initially, you said you didn't vote.
Oh, so you're trying to get me into gotcha. See?
No. You said you didn't vote.
I know what you're doing. You think you're smart.
You said you didn't vote.
I did. No, I didn't.
Okay, but now you just admitted that you voted for Trump.
I did.
Right. Okay. So are you okay with what the? Well, no, hold on.
Let me finish.
No, hold on. I mean, it's a simple question I'm going to ask you. Do you support what the president said about Rob Reiner? Simple question. You're muted. Excuse me. You can unmute your mic. I'll send you the invitation. It's a real simple question. Do you support what the president said about Rob Reiner?
No.
You don't. Are you gonna call it out?
No, I'm not gonna call it out. I'm just saying I don't.
Why not?
What are you trying to get me angry?
I'm just asking you a question. So were you angry at people on the left for celebrating Charlie Kirk losing his life?
That's a hard question.
Why? Why is it hard?
It's hard to agree with everybody, right? It's hard to
pick a stand. Make a stance. So
I can't make a stance. I can't. I'm curious though. When I asked you initially, you said you didn't vote.
Why did you say you didn't vote, then eventually admit to
because I
voting for
didn't
Trump?
vote when you thought I voted.
No,
I voted.
What? I just asked you who you voted for. You said you didn't vote.
No, I voted in 2015.
2016.
16, sorry.
And you haven't voted since?
No, because I don't agree.
Okay, so what do you stand for then, sir?
I don't know. What do y'all stand for?
Okay, can I give you an example of some things that I stand for?
Please help me.
Okay,
help me out.
Like I stand. So we are Can we agree that we are the richest nation on earth?
But most pathetic, yeah.
Let's not add words. Let's just answer my questions, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I stand for Medicare for all, so that every citizen of our nation has health care. Do you stand for that?
Yeah, we're not Canada, bro.
I'm asking.
Should we all have health care? Yeah, I think you agree with that. Yeah.
Yes, and under a model where we would all save money and we could all have health care. Do you support that?
Exactly. Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so but you voted for somebody who doesn't.
I voted for Obama 3 times, brother. Let's not get it twisted.
How could you vote for Obama 3 times? You only ran twice.
Oh, that's true.
Can you do me a favor, friend? Can you?
No. You're right.
It's a question. Just a question. It's just a question. What did you have for breakfast today?
A liquor.
Nobody cares. Okay. It's fine. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. It's totally fine. Gwasner, how are you today? Gwasner, are you there? I guess not. Anyway, it's early. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Point of this conversation, friends, is that you're starting to see less and less outward support for the president because it makes it difficult to defend what's been happening. And again, this is the question. When you ask people what they stand for, now think about how he answered. I stand for my family, which is great. We all should stand for our family. But is that the answer? Like, I vote for people that I don't know. I come up here and talk about these things that are important to me because I know how they impact others. I know healthcare, Medicare for all, the universal model would help everyone. I know that overfunding public education would help everyone. I know about going after Citizens United and getting money out of politics would help everyone. I stand for human rights. I stand for the protections for marginalized communities. I stand for a society that supports those that are among us who need the most help because I fully believe that all boats rise. And conservatives don't stand for anything. They stand against it. Literally somebody saying, I support my family. We all support our family, hopefully. That's not a good answer to a question. Talking about one man is for 10 years. Okay, smoke screen. Yeah. Okay. It's just this weird position that you guys have put yourself in that you don't have a lot to defend. Instead, you just want to attack. Maybe stand for something. Maybe try to learn something, right? Instead of just chirping from the cheap seats, which is fine. I mean, I know I'm devilishly handsome and really smart. I get it. I understand. But maybe try to prove that you can have an intellectual conversation and stand for something. There's people in our community, 2,300 strong today, 125,000 followers on TikTok and YouTube combined, right? People who join our Discord because we stand for things. We want society to be better for everybody, even the most bright red MAGA community. I want you all to have healthcare. I want you all to have access to capital. I don't want you to be getting ripped off by corporations. I don't want you to continue to be lied to, because what's being exposed is the worst elements of humanity. The racism, the hatred, the bigotry, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So instead, we get people like this, right? We get people like Smokescreen. What a joke. Talking about one man for 10 years is sad, host is whatever. Really? You can think that. It's totally fine. If that's how you want to get through your day, that's totally fine. I get it. I feel really bad for you, because you know what that does? That just shows us who you are. It's hard to have a politically themed show 5 days a week without discussing the president, because by the end of the week, people will be like, are you not going to talk about the president? He is the president. Yeah, I know. Anyway, Christian nationalists in our government, and we're going to get into the national security doctrine a little bit more. But here's a little bit more on Mike Johnson, right? Again, similarly, it's the same question I just asked. Condemn this hateful behavior. Why is it so difficult? Why, MAGA? Why is it so difficult for you guys to condemn it, at least in this space? A lot of you are. Here's the question Mike Johnson was asked.
Tragedy, and I heard the shocking news, as many did this morning. I was in meetings, fundraising meetings this morning, walked out and heard that. The shocking news that apparently their son committed the murders is not only an unspeakable family tragedy, it's another reminder of just the senseless violence and evil that is so rampant in our society. So our prayers go out to the Reiner family, the survivors, and everybody who's affected by this. At times like this, my thoughts go to Scripture. Psalm 34 is a good one.
Cool.
It says the Lord is close to the brokenhearted, and he saves those who are crushed in spirit.
Cool.
We're seeing a lot of tragedies. I was looking on my Twitter feed this morning, all the terrible events that have befallen, the slaughter of Jewish young people celebrating Hanukkah in Australia. We had the troops that we lost in the last few days. You've had all these unspeakable, Brown University, the tragedy. We see evil all around us. And during the holiday season, as we enter the holy season, we've begun Hanukkah. We're coming up upon Christmas. We have to appeal to our better angels, and I think we've got to amplify those voices and those sentiments. So that's my position on it. I don't think that's probably a surprise.
What about the president's attack? What about the president's attack of him?
See, just walk away. Just walk away. I want to address the situation that happened in Syria. Loss of life again. Here's the thing that MAGA doesn't want to tell you, though, is that the Syrian president, who was recently in the Oval Office, and the president was joking with him about how many wives he had, that guy used to be a front man for ISIS in Iraq. Right? Used to be a front man, was part of campaigns to unalive American soldiers, I should say. That guy. And now we know what just happened, and the president's response was like, yeah, these things happen. Whatever. Where's your anger? Why is it that the left, the ideological left, the political left, why is it that we show you every single day that we care more about active duty and veterans than you do? It's a big fucking game for you guys. It's a big game. You can wrap yourself in your flag and call yourself a patriot. You can wrap yourself in your POW MIA flag and call yourself defending those who are lost. None of you all fucking care. None of you care. You show us every single day. As long as brown people, gay people, trans people, and women are impacted, you'll fucking celebrate. We see you. We see you. Yep, we fucking see you. All right, got a few more things I wanted to play this morning. Especially as the corruption model gets bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm going to give you a few examples of how deep the corruption goes. This is just things that have happened this year, okay? Pam Bondi was ordered the prosecution of Trump's perceived political enemies like James Comey, Letitia James, fired Department of Justice attorneys that upheld the rule of law, and then tried to cover up the Epstein files. When you go to get a federal grand jury to get an indictment, it's like they always talk about how getting an indictment, you can indict a ham sandwich. Well, they've failed 3 separate times to get these indictments. Okay, but again, nothing to see here. Only the fact that the president directed Pam Bondi to pursue these cases. Nothing to see here, though. Kash Patel purged FBI employees who worked on January 6 cases and ending investigations into Trump, disbanded the FBI's public corruption squad, waived polygraph tests for FBI Director Dan Bongino and other senior officials, and repeatedly and reportedly used an FBI jet to visit his girlfriend and attend sporting events. Nothing to see here, though, right? You guys totally fine with that? Of course you are. Pete leaked highly sensitive military attack plans in a signal chat, spent thousands to build a makeup studio in the Pentagon, targeted an inspector general conducting investigations into his activities. And then don't forget, he comes out and says that he was totally exonerated. Meanwhile, the actual report said, dude, you're not even close to being exonerated. In fact, you leaked classified information that could have put American military might and pilots and others at risk. Yeah, he built a makeup studio. He did. He built a makeup studio right next to the press room of the Pentagon. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And this didn't even include the fucking schmurder, because the White House is still blaming Pete because they don't want anything to do with it. Recent statements are like, yeah, the Sec Def did this. It's not us. Okay. Kristi Noem, we heard that sound earlier when she basically said, yeah, we've never locked up or detained or deported or any veterans and or combat vets. Then she fucking lied. And then she had to run out of the meeting to go to a meeting that didn't even exist. She funneled $220 million in taxpayer funds to an ad company owned by the husband of her chief DHS spokesperson, spent $172 million in taxpayer funds on 2 private jets for herself and top DHS officials. Nothing to see here, though, right? Stephen Miller owns up to $250,000 of stock in Palantir, which has millions in government contracts with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, and the Pentagon. And the Palantir relationship within our federal government is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And this guy's Stephen Miller's got a boatload of fucking stock in Palantir. Nice, right? Russ Vought, one of the co-authors of Project 2025, illegally blocked more than $5 billion in SNAP funding from being distributed to hungry families, destroyed the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau with the help of Elon Musk, who, by the way, was being investigated by that same bureau, and then blocked funding for schools, fired internal oversight officers, etc. Nothing to see here, though. Totally fine. Elon, through Doge, although Doge slashed basic science research and defunded the NIH, he destroyed the IRS's ability to audit wealthy tax sheets, terminated thousands of federal employees, accessed sensitive Social Security data of millions of Americans. Nothing to see here. Tom Homan accepted $50,000 in cash, bag of cash, from undercover FBI agents as a bribe in exchange for the promise of future government contracts. Nothing to see here. Totally fine. RFK earned millions from firms earned millions from firms suing lawsuits vaccine manufacturers, gutted CDC illness monitoring systems, and awarded contracts to anti-vax researchers. Nothing to see here. Totally fine. Trump, across the board, issued 1,800 pardons, including January 6 insurrectionists, white-collar criminals, and those with business ties to the Trump family. Nothing to see here, though, right? It gets worse. It gets worse. Fired over a dozen inspectors general, dropped investigations and enforcement actions over 100 plus corporations. Secret Service spent $100,000 in taxpayer money at Trump properties, and political spending tops $900,000 year to date at Trump properties. Nothing to see here, right? Nothing to see here. Totally fine. No corruption whatsoever. It's just a day. It's just a day in the life. All we continue to ask for is just be consistent. If you want to claim that the war on drugs is real, then you got to be fucking angry that we're pardoning drug czars. The Silk Road guy, the pardons in general. Okay, when I did this breakdown a couple weeks ago, pardons and commutations. Commuting a sentence is a lot different than a pardon. Okay, a pardon is just forgive your crimes. Okay, And then that whole bullshit last week where the president goes on Truth Social, and because MAGA aren't the brightest bulbs in the tree when he said, I'm going to pardon Tina Peters. They're like, yeah, she's out of jail. President cannot pardon a state crime. She's still in jail in Colorado. And she will be for a while. She'll be locked up. Okay? So, yeah, exactly. Pardon forgives any restitution. Exactly. A commutation is literally commuting a sentence, taking people off of death row, because I thought MAGA was pro-life. If you're pro-life, then you would have no issue of somebody being taken off of death row, right? Of course not. I know. You see what I mean? It's not, hi Erica, it's not that complicated. We just ask for consistency. That's it. That's it. Just consistency. If you are angry about what people on the left said about Charlie Kirk, then you should be rip shit fucking pissed about what the president himself said about Rob Reiner. But you can't do that, can you? Wonder why. Let me just close the loop on the whole Rob Reiner thing. Jake Tapper kind of did an interesting breakdown on the president's rhetoric connected to it. Here you go.
Disrespectful, inappropriate, unpresidential. And these are the comments from Republicans on Capitol Hill today. Forget the Democrats for a sec about the comments that President Trump posted on social media this morning about the tragic murders of Hollywood director Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle. This all started this morning when Trump said that the murders were, quote, reportedly due to the anger Rob Reiner caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome. He was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession with President Trump. So that struck a lot of people as really in horrible taste and lacking basic humanity and compassion. Congressman Don Bacon, Republican of Nebraska, reached out to me and said, quote, I'd expect to hear something like this from a drunk guy at a bar, not the president of the United States. Can the president be presidential? Republican Congressman Tom Massey of Kentucky said, this is inappropriate and disrespectful discourse about a man who was just brutally murdered. I guess my elected Republican colleagues, the vice president and White House staff will just ignore it because they're afraid. I challenge anyone to defend it.
Exactly.
Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene said this is a family tragedy, not about politics or political enemies, and should be met with empathy. Interestingly, President Trump's comments about Rob Reiner and his wife being murdered are in stark contrast with what Rob Reiner said after Charlie Kirk was murdered. He went on Piers Morgan's show and said the following about the horrific murder of Charlie Kirk.
I don't care what your political beliefs are. That's not acceptable. That's not a solution to solving problems. And I felt like what his wife said at the service at the memorial they had was exactly right. And what she said to me was beautiful and absolutely, she forgave his assassin. And I think that is admirable.
Quite a contrast from what President Trump said about Rob Reiner.
Yeah. You think? You think? I don't know where, thank you. Appreciate you. If I haven't got your super chat, my apologies, friends. I'm trying to do multiple things at once here, but we're working on it. But if you do want to support the channel, again, we are crowdfunded here: Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, also super chats, and we'll tabulate. So thank you guys for being here. Appreciate y'all very much. I don't know how we can. We're in this weird fucking spot, right? Where all this, two things. Let me back up a second. We know the overwhelming majority of political violence comes from the right. It's not even close. I'm not going to debate it. There's no reason to, because they're not going to believe the truth anyway. I despise political violence. We all should. Okay, we should all condemn political violence. We can't have the right trying to clutch their fucking pearls and all the bullshit because people commented. I will say it again. Charlie Kirk was a despicable, disgusting, ridiculously horrible human being. Picked on every single marginalized community there was. He has a right to say it. I despise it. I think he's despicable. He does not deserve to lose his life because of it. That's the argument. Similarly, right? The president of the United States, the Rob Reiner situation wasn't even political. The president of the United States just didn't like what Rob Reiner said about him. Instead of offering some support for the rest of his family, no, couldn't do that. Had to then just double down on his hatred. There's a fundamental fucking difference. And there's people in this fucking space right now that have been grifting off of that bullshit. Grifting off it. It's fucking ridiculous. So much hatred. Apparently, I just saw a note that the jobs report is out, guys. Is that true? I will have my amazing mod team double down on that and check for you. Okay, I've got that one covered. Let's go back to this hearing. Benny Johnson, by the way. I'm sorry, Benny Thompson. I really like Benny. He's just got this slow and deliberate style in which he brings up questions. There's an FBI agent that was being interviewed last week. And, well, here's, in case you haven't heard this sound.
See, from my position, is that's the most immediate violent threat that we're facing on the domestic side.
So where is Antifa headquartered?
Uh-oh.
What we're doing right now with the organization.
Where in the United States does Antifa exist? If it's a terrorist organization, and you've identified it as number one.
We are building out the infrastructure right now.
Oh, okay.
So what does that mean?
Exactly.
We're trying to get the information. You say Antifa.
Correct.
Is a terrorist organization.
Right.
Tell us as a committee, how did you come to that? Where do they exist? How many members do they have in the United States as of right now?
Well, that's very fluid. It's ongoing for us to understand that. The same, no different than Al Qaeda and ISIS.
No, I don't want you. I'll ask one question, sir. I just want you to tell us. If you said Antifa is the number one domestic terrorist organization operating in the United States, I just need to know where they are, how many people. I don't want a name. I don't want anything like that. Just how many people have you identified with the FBI that Antifa is made of?
Well, the investigations are active.
So you wouldn't come to this committee and say something you can't prove. I know. I know you wouldn't do that. But you did.
But you did. But you did. So, you know, if you want to pick yourself up the Antifa Field Commander shirt, go for it. They're in the merch store. You know, those hearings, that hearing was on national security, right? We know that. What does MAGA, what does the right do at this point when they've lost? They've lost everything. Exactly. Very good questioning. You put them on the spot. You get the DHS director basically saying, basically saying that we've never deported and or detained and or arrested a U.S. citizen and or a combat vet, and that was a fucking lie. Okay, a flat out lie. She got called out on it, then she had to run. And Benny's the guy that said, yeah, that meeting that she told us she had to go to, yeah, that meeting was canceled. And then this guy whose responsibility apparently it is to go after Antifa, you know what? This is the Antifa headquarters, just in case you didn't know. Because I've got plenty of wood. I played with my wood all weekend. It's in the backyard now. We got plenty of wood. You guys, you can feed Kipper, take him for a walk. We can go hiking all the fucking snow we have, because this is the headquarters. Might as well be, because the FBI has no fucking idea. And speaking of that, President Trump, J.D. Vance, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, Kristi Noem, Tom Homan, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm Steve, Facts. We go live every Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. till noon Eastern time, and also on Friday nights at 7 p.m. Fuck you. Cool. Have a good day. Can you imagine, though? You send this guy out there. This is the boy. You're going to send this guy out there, and you're asked a simple question. You want to make the claim that Antifa is. I'll go to the Discord. Thank you. That Antifa is this, terrorist organization, and they can't even tell you where it is, what it is, who it is, why it is. All right, let me go here. Okay, total non-farm payroll changed little in November, up 64,000 jobs, and has shown little net change since April. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Stats reported today in November, the unemployment rate at 4.6%. Uh-oh, it's going up. Rose, Wow. Employment rose in healthcare and construction in November while federal government continued to lose jobs. Geez, I wonder why. This news release presents statistics from the 2-month survey. The household survey measures labor force status, including unemployment by demographic characteristics. The establishment survey measures non-farm payroll hours and earnings by industry. Okay, I got that covered. Thank you, Tiff. Thank you, Brooke. Appreciate you guys. The change in total non-farm payroll jobs for August was revised down from 22,000 from minus 4,000 to minus 26,000. Holy shit. And the change for September was revised down by 11,000 from plus 119 to plus 108. With these revisions, employment in August and September combined is 33,000 lower than previously reported due to recent federal government shutdown. This is the first publication of October data, and thus there are no revisions for October this month. Monthly revisions result from additional reports received from businesses and government agencies since the last published estimates and from the recalculation of seasonal factors. How about that? Unemployment is up to 4.6%. Holy shit. Wow. But again, is that fake news? Was that the Democrats manipulating the numbers? Was that Antifa? Was that the trans community? Was that women that did that? Was that the marginalized? Interesting. 4.6%. Well, what do you know? What do you know? Employment in social assistance continued to trend up in November, plus 18,000 jobs in social services, primarily in individual and family services. In November, employment edged down in transportation and warehousing, down 18,000 jobs in transportation and warehousing. Wow. Reflecting a job loss in couriers and messengers, down 18,000 again. Transportation and warehousing employment has declined by 78,000 jobs since its peak in February. That's crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. But what about Biden exactly? What about Biden? When do you own the economy, MAGA? When do you own it? When do you own it? 4.6. Can somebody hold on a second? I'm going to just check something out. I'm just curious about something. Let's see. I'm just looking at I'm looking at the unemployment rate. Okay. So that's how we measure things in terms of rates, MAGA. We can go back to, let's see, this is the highest it's been. So actually, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, they are saying the unemployment rate has risen to 5%. Interesting. Wow. That's the highest it's been in a very long time. This goes back to, it's the highest it's been since, let me see if I can do it this way instead. According to U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the rate is 5%. Well, 4.7%. It's the highest it's been in a very, very long time. We can go back to, let's see. Hang on one second. I'm pulling up this data real time. 4.1% in June, 4.2% in July, 4.3% in August, 4.4% in October, in September, 4.6% in October. Somebody want to explain that, MAGA? Are those numbers rigged? Is that fake news? Probably, right? Probably just fake. Nothing to see here. Probably just fake. CPI's up, inflation's up, unemployment rate is up. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't miss something, but that's fine. Nothing to see here. Okay, let's shift gears and talk about healthcare a little bit. Well, since we're talking about the economy, let's do a couple things on what the president had to say. Let's start with the Epstein files. Okay, I want to start there, just because there's new images out, and I want people to be very careful I want people to be very careful about how far, people on the left in particular, graders on the left, how far we go with some of these images. I've heard people talking about the whole, the Trump condom thing. That was something that was put out in one of these like Spencer gift stores. So we have to be very, very careful about how far, because our own confirmation bias will sneak in. Yes, there are disturbing images, no doubt about that. Yes, there are pictures of what appeared to be young girls whose faces are redacted. But let's make sure that we are very careful as to how this information gets shared, okay? Real quick, let me just make a quick thank you here. Thank you, Hazy. I appreciate you for your $5 on the train. Appreciate you guys. 2,400 people in here. We should easily be able to get to 500K. And let's see if we can bang out this goal today, friends. I'd appreciate that. So this is the president in response to the new photos being released. This is wild.
It's released today showing you and also Bill Clinton, Steve Bannon. What were your reaction to those new photos that were released?
Well, I haven't seen it, but I mean, everybody knew this man. He was all over Palm Beach. He has photos with everybody. I mean, almost there are hundreds and hundreds of people that have photos with him. So that's no big deal. I know nothing about it.
You know nothing about it? How can you know nothing about it? What?
There were new Epstein photos released today showing you and also Bill Clinton, Steve Bannon. What were your reaction to those new photos that were released?
Well, I haven't seen it, but I mean, everybody knew this man. He was all over Palm Beach. He has photos with everybody. I mean, almost there are hundreds and hundreds of people that have photos with him. So that's no big deal. I know nothing about it.
Okay. Again, this Friday, the 19th, is the date by law the DOJ is supposed to release their files. Now, somebody asked me this question, like, do I expect that we'll get full compliance with the DOJ? Of course not. But let's remember, there are more than one ways to get this information. It's been coming out to the Epstein estate. It's been coming out through the Democrats on the Oversight Committee, right? So we may never get everything, and I fully expect that. But it's going to be harder and harder and harder and harder to defend this shit. Okay, so we've got it covered. We'll cover the news as we do. All right, let's get into some of the more. This is the I mentioned this earlier. This is the entire the Arc de Triomphe investment. So this is another wild little fucking bullshit presser he had. And well, here you go.
Quiet.
But apparently I shouldn't talk about the president of the United States in a political live. Anyway.
Vince in charge of the triumphal arc. We're building an arc like the Arc de Triomphe, and we're building it by the Arlington Bridge, the Arlington Cemetery, opposite the Lincoln Memorial. You could say Jefferson, Washington, everything, because they're all right there. And it's something that is so special. It will be like the one in Paris, but to be honest with you, it blows it away.
Of course it does.
Blows it away
Of course it
in
does.
every way.
Of course it does.
And Vince came in one day and his eyes were teeming. I mean, he couldn't believe how beautiful it was. He saw it and he wanted to do that. That's your primary thing. There is nothing that can compete with that. It's the only city in the world that's of great importance that doesn't have a triumphal arc. You know what that is? And this one is going to blow them all away. The one that people know mostly is the Arc de Triomphe in Paris, France. And we're going to top it by, I think, a lot.
Okay.
The only.
Does anybody give a fuck? I don't know. I'd like healthcare. I don't give a fuck about an arc or an arch. Does anybody care? Does anybody give a shit? Waste, fraud, and abuse, right? Totally fine. This is the problem when you condition your cult. When you condition them to think that this is the flex, right? This is the flex. Your taxpayer dollars, waste, fraud, and abuse. Your taxpayer dollars now going to build an arch. Waste, fraud, and abuse. Does anybody care? Waste, fraud, and abuse. Does anybody give a shit that we're building a fucking arch in DC? Waste, fraud, and abuse. Nope. Nobody fucking cares. But, you know, enjoy the view from the arch while millions of Americans lose their lives because they don't have fucking health care. Nothing to see here, though. That's totally fine. Okay, let's talk about this, too, because this is a wild claim. This is another one of his moments. Here you go.
But during the season of joy and peace, we have so much to celebrate as a nation. Because 1 year ago, we really were. We were a country that was in serious trouble. There are those that say we were a country that was really not going to make it. And they were saying we were not going to make it. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. They're all saying it. Other leaders are saying it. The European nations.
Okay, when he says other people are saying it, that means nobody is saying it other than him.
Are saying it. The European nations are reporting that your president might as well be the leader of the European nations also. They listen to us and they respect us like they've never respected us before. So we're going to work very hard. We get along with them. We want to get along with as many nations as we can. We've been ripped off by a lot of them for a lot of years. And frankly, a lot of the Democrats knew that better than some of the Republicans. But we've been ripped off and taken advantage of by friend and foe. And in many cases, friend was worse than foe.
What?
But not anymore. We have, I don't know if you noticed, the deficit was cut down by 64%. Nobody's ever heard of a number like that. You know what?
Nobody's ever heard of a number before like that, Donald, because it's a fucking lie. It's a just, there's oftentimes when he spews his bullshit, there's like a flea's wing of truth in what he said. This is just fucking. I couldn't even find what the fuck he was talking about. I researched it for an hour. I could not find anything. Now there are months when the deficit compared to last year was less, but overall we're still in debt, dude. We're still running a fucking deficit. You've not reduced it by 64%, not even close.
A thing called tariffs. The tariffs are so big and so substantial, and it was just announced 2 weeks ago, the deficit's cut down by, nobody ever heard of a number like that. If the deficit goes down by 2%, it's like a great thing. The tariffs have reduced the deficit by 64%. Nobody has ever seen. And frankly, we haven't even started yet.
Nobody's ever seen it, sir, because it's a fucking lie. That's why nobody's ever seen it. Here you go. Here's a more indication. This is from that same speech. I'm going to talk about this in just a second.
Fifth election, you would have had a president that didn't have the courage to use tariffs the way they should be used. And because of the tariffs, we've taken in more than think of this, $18 trillion. There's never been anything like it.
Okay, by all estimates, this is from the Treasury, by all estimates, the amount of tariff revenue that we've acquired so far this year is around $300 billion. Okay? That's, no one knows. Again, he said directly tariffs. Okay? I know the number's gone up. So I'm going to put this in context for you. Federal taxes in 2024 came in at just under $5 trillion. The United States GDP in 2024 was just under $30 trillion. Again, federal income taxes brought in last year, $5 trillion. The entire GDP is $29 trillion. And the president wants you to believe that in 10 months, we've brought in $18 trillion. Again, by all estimates, according to the IRS, that's who would track it, the Treasury Department. It's roughly $300 billion. Where the fuck is that number coming from? It's coming from his ass. But you folks will believe it. You guys would believe it. You would have to believe that. And we would say, why the fuck are you believing that? You also believed you're going to get a Doge check. You also believed you're going to get a check from the tariff rebates. You also believed you're going to get a Trump phone. Has any of that happened? $18 trillion? Again, just I don't want to confuse. I'll speak slowly for those in the back.
Example, the previous administration, Sleepy Joe Biden.
Hold on. Because they're going to say, oh, no, he meant investments. Well, no. He said tariffs. He didn't talk about investments. And even the investments number is way the fuck off. Here you go again.
November 5th election, you would have had a president that didn't have the courage to use tariffs the way they should be used. And because of the tariffs, we've taken in more than think of this, $18 trillion. There's never been anything like it. As an example, the previous administration, Sleepy Joe Biden, took in less than $1 trillion in 4 years. We took in more than $18 trillion in 10 months. I'd say say that's pretty good, right? I'd say that's pretty good. And if you go back into history, there's never been a country that's taken in more than $3 trillion.
Let's just talk about it from a math perspective, right? How would it be possible, considering we didn't even roll out, don't forget, Liberation Day, right? April 1st, when we started to really see spikes in inflation. Liberation Day, between April 1st and now, that's what, 5 months, 6 months, 7 months. You really expect people to believe that we've brought in $18 trillion. Again, the entire income from the IRS from last year, tax revenue, $5 trillion. The entire GDP of our nation is $30 trillion. And you want people to believe that we brought in $18 trillion in tariff revenue. If you believe that, then there is no fucking hope for you. So what is your argument in defense of this? What is your argument? Leaning on the cruelty? Leaning on the Christian national and the white nationalism? Where is it? I want my fucking money. Where is it? He's making money on the back of the American taxpayer. If it's $18 trillion, then show the fucking receipts. Where is it? Why aren't you paying down the debt? If that's found money on the fucking tariff shelf, then where is it? Where is it? If it's 18 trillion, that's fucking awesome. Let's celebrate it. It's not. The reason nobody's seen anything like it is because it doesn't happen. And it hasn't happened. And it will never happen because it's impossible. Give us healthcare. Write the fucking check. $18 trillion, write the check. Write the check. But nope, won't do that. Nope. Not going to do that. Can't have nice things. Can't have nice things. Okay, that's fine. You guys just continue to live in your lie so that you can protect your fucking hatred. Your cruelty. You're diminishing people. I want to address the situation at Brown University. I have friends. Actually, one of my daughter's besties applied to Brown. Like they're literally waiting for the acceptance. And I imagine there's a lot going through their head. I know our friend RJ lives not far from the campus. We know that people, Rhode Island's not very big. And it's just another tragedy. Of course, the right wants to blame. Don't forget, there was an investigation going on. Kash Patel came out and said, "Oh, we already got the name," and they didn't have the name. They're still investigating. But this is our president and responding to another tragedy in our country. Actually, I think I even have a background for that. Okay, let me play this because that's where I'm at. I want courage and fucking change. I'm so fucking tired of this bullshit. Here you go.
Do you know what the motive of the shooter was? Was it
No, we don't. No, it's that's moving along now, and we don't. And we're going to see what happens. Hopefully, they're going to capture this animal. Hopefully, they're going to capture it.
Has Kash Patel told you why it's been so difficult for the FBI to identify who the shooter is?
Well, it's always difficult. So far, we've done a very good job of doing it with Charlie, with the various times this has happened. They've done it in pretty much record time. But you really have to ask the school a little bit more about that because this was a school problem. They had their own guards, they had their own police, they had their own everything. But you'd have to ask that question really to the school, not to the FBI. We came in after the fact, and but they came in after the fact.
Do you know if it was targeted, Mr. President?
No, they don't know that yet. No.
Okay. Can you once again, the amount of his attempt to defend his administration is crazy to me. Don't forget, Kash Patel came out with the name early. They were wrong numerous times. They were wrong across the board. They'd said somebody was in custody. They weren't in custody. They identified somebody that they thought was the shooter that wasn't the shooter. It's the same thing. Exactly. It's the school's fault now. Because again, his weakness as a narcissist's typical weakness. His weakness is he cannot be in a position where people in his administration make him look bad. Right? And he's got to try to find a way to defend it, which is why I think numerous members of his cabinet are on the fucking short list. He just cannot look bad. He doesn't want to have to defend their ineptness and their fucking bullshit. So instead, he just says, well, yeah, we're on it better than anybody. Those are his tells. Like nobody's ever seen before, the greatest ever. Those are projections because of how pitiful he is. All right, I want to get into. Well, let me just back up a second. A little bit more sound to play. There's still some carryover from the statements that he made in regards to the double tap. There's more and more pressure to release this information. I think it tells you a lot why we wouldn't see this. I know I'm bouncing around a little bit today because I'm trying to catch up on a whole bunch of shit for the past few days. But so just bear with me. I'm painting the pattern of how there's one excuse to cover up their incompetence, one excuse to cover up their crime, one excuse to cover up the other excuse to cover up the other excuse. So it's oftentimes it's difficult to put the whole thing together. So we're trying to do today. So as a reminder, the double tap. That's what this entire thing is about. And in my estimation, it's not just about that singular incident. It's more about all of it. And whether or not these are violations of U.S. law, they seem like they are. International law, they clearly seem like they are. The Geneva Convention, absolutely. And the DOD's own policy. So yes, all those things apply. But this was a moment that I don't want us to forget because of what the first sound you'll hear will be from his statement made last week. The second sound will be from an earlier statement made on December 3rd on the same topic. You'll know what I'm talking about.
President, you said you would have no problem with releasing the full video of that strike on September 2nd off the coast of Venezuela. Secretary Hegseth now says...
You said that. I didn't say that. This is ABC fake news.
You released video of that first boat strike on September 2nd, but not the second video. Will you release video of that strike so that the American people can see for themselves what happened?
I don't know what they have, but whatever they have, we'd certainly release. No problem.
So again, now I think part of his cognitive decline is his lack of awareness. Like he doesn't know what the fuck's going on, so he doesn't remember when he says things. So he'll just go out and attack. Quiet piggy, are you stupid? You're the worst, you're obnoxious. And it's always women that are in the crosshairs, similarly, trying to blame someone else now for the things that he has said. If it's not so bad, then release it. Members of Congress have seen it. Members of Congress, even Republicans and Democrats, are saying, let's just release it. Yeah, again, I agree. You're right, Heather. It's fucking treason. Full on. Why won't they just release it? If there's nothing to see here and it's no big deal, again, a capsized vessel that had just been fucking missiled, they want you to believe that these guys that are climbing back on board the boat are a threat. Okay, that's fine. Nothing to see here. All right, let's shift gears a little bit because I want to talk about these crazy fucking lawsuits that the president is now trying to sell, to initiate. Let's start with the BBC. This just came out recently, so here you go.
I'm suing the BBC for putting words in my mouth, literally. They put words in my mouth. They had me saying things that I never said coming out. I guess they used AI or something. So we'll be bringing that lawsuit. A lot of people are asking, when are you bringing that lawsuit? Even the media can't believe that one. They actually put terrible words in my mouth having to do with January 6th that I didn't say. And the beautiful words that I said, right? The beautiful words, talking about patriotism and all of the good things that I said, they didn't say that, but they put terrible words. They actually have me speaking with words that I never said, and they got caught because I believe somebody at BBC said, this is so bad, it has to be reported. It's called fake news. So we'll be filing that suit probably this afternoon or tomorrow morning. I want to...
What? Okay, so the BBC has said that it will defend itself against a $10 billion lawsuit filed by the president yesterday, which alleges the British public broadcaster defamed him in a documentary before last year's presidential election by deceptively editing parts of his speech. You just heard what the president said. They added stuff. It would have been AI. They added stuff. It wasn't me. I didn't say it. It was AI. In a brief statement, the BBC said it would fight the lawsuit, raising the possibility of a legal battle over whether the edit of the speech caused harm to the president's reputation. In a brief statement, they say, again, as we have made clear previously, we will be defending this case. We are not going to make further comments on ongoing legal proceedings, a BBC spokesperson said, according to the Reuters news agency. In a 33-page complaint, Trump's attorney asked a federal court in Miami for a jury trial and alleged a BBC documentary that aired a week before the 2024 presidential election was a, quote, brazen attempt to interfere and influence the election's outcome to President Trump's detriment. The BBC, BBC Studios Distribution Limited, and BBC Studios Productions, co-producers of the Trump A Second Chance documentary, are named as defendants. Trump's attorney alleged that the BBC purposely spliced together parts of his speech to supporters at the Ellipse in Washington, including a section early on in the speech when he urged them to walk to the Capitol, and a section nearly 55 minutes later when he told them to fight like hell. The suit argued that the documentary is deceptive in its omission of Trump's encouraging his supporters to engage in peaceful protests when he said, "I know that everyone here will soon be marching to the Capitol to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard." The BBC did not immediately respond to a request for comments. Charles Tobin, an attorney representing the BBC, said in a letter to Trump's attorneys on Monday, filing that our client had no intention of misleading anyone and that the BBC had offered public contrition, a personal apology to Trump sent by email, and a retraction that appeared online. Again, can you imagine being that fucking fragile that you want to go out and tell people that they made shit up, that it was AI? What? AI? That's the argument you want to make? That it's fucking AI? That they put words in your mouth, my guy? No, they did not. Here it is again.
In a little while, you'll be seeing I'm suing the BBC for putting words in my mouth. Literally, they put words in my mouth. They had me saying things that I never said coming out. I guess they used AI or something. So we'll be bringing that lawsuit. A lot of people are asking, when are you bringing that lawsuit? Even the media can't believe that one. They actually put terrible words in my mouth having to do with January 6th that I didn't say. And the beautiful words that I said. Right? The beautiful words. Talking about patriotism and all of the good things that I said. They didn't say that, but they put terrible words. They actually have me speaking with words that I never said. And they got caught because I believe somebody at BBC said, this is so bad, it has to be reported. That's called fake news. So we'll be filing that suit probably this afternoon or tomorrow morning. I want
to... That's not even what his own lawyers are suing for. They're just suing because they didn't like the edits. Not that it was made up. Yeah, so here is let me see if I can find it for you. I kind of did a little summary on it. Hang on. I did. Wait a second. It just makes me laugh because it's just like, what? Hold on. I think I have it someplace. Maybe I don't. Doesn't matter. The lawsuit is about the editing. And yes, they edited it. Absolutely. It doesn't change the fact that he said fight like hell. We know that's in there. We know it's there. Where is the do I have that? I think I do. Hang on one second. And then we're going to get into the national security. This whole thing with the national security directive is just fucking wild. Doesn't matter. This is real life, friends. This is real fucking life. These are the people that we have in our government. These are the people that are in our communities. They'll just believe it. It was live on TV. Exactly. It was live. It's wild. Everybody keep tapping and sharing, please. Millie May, looks like you might have timed out. You can request again if you want to. Okay. Let me see. Where do I want to go now with this? We're gonna. Do I want to do that? Let's talk about the Pulitzer Board lawsuit, because this is another one, and this one really cracks me up, because I don't think the president realizes the trouble that he might put himself into. Trump's efforts to sue the Pulitzer Prize Board over defamation claims took a turn for the president last week, according to a new report from Law and Crime. This is reported by Politico. After the board demanded extensive documents and discovery pertaining to everything from his psychological history to his prescription medication use. The president is suing back in 2022 the Pulitzer Board over a statement the board released defending prizes it awarded in 2018 to New York Times and the Washington Post, reporting related to collusion between his first presidential campaign and the Russian government after Trump demanded that the prizes be rescinded. So Jesus Christ. The Pulitzer Board awarded the Pulitzer Prize to the New York Times and Washington Post for their coverage of Russian election interference, which absolutely fucking happened. Okay? So in an attempt to erase history, the president wants to sue them, claiming that this did not exist and that it did him undue harm. So the Pulitzer Board's like, well, okay, since you're claiming it did you emotional harm, then we'd like all the records, please. We'd like your psychiatric exams. We'd like your medication list. We'd like all your health records. Do you think the Trump administration is going to abide during discovery? Fuck no. Can you just fucking imagine being that weak, out MAGA's beta, being that pathetic that you're going to sue the Pulitzer Board because you didn't like the coverage? Okay. The board statement explained that 2 independent reviews of the reports awarded in 2018 showed that no aspects of them were refuted by special counsel Robert Mueller. In fact, it corroborated the story perfectly. In claiming defamation from this statement, Trump's lawsuit nevertheless called the Russian connection a, quote, now debunked theory and alleged that he suffered reputational harm and damages from it. As of last week, the case had reached the discovery phase, with the Pulitzer Board submitting a 12-page filing with a litany of broad discovery demands for Trump's legal team. In addition to demanding more typical documents pertaining to Trump's various lawsuits and claims about the political impact of the Pulitzer, the board also requested a wide range of documents detailing much more personal and intimate details. This includes a list of all of the president's tax returns dating from 2015 to now, so as to show any potential financial harm caused by the Pulitzer Board's actions. It also requires health records, prescription histories to demonstrate proof of Trump's claims of mental and physical anguish. Fucking love that shit. Love it. Sure, you're making all these claims, then you got to show us. You got to show us you claim that you're financially harmed, reputationally harmed, and your physical and mental health was impacted. Okay, let's set the baseline. Let's go. Bring it. They won't, though. They won't. And then I covered the BBC. So those 2 lawsuits I thought were very, very interesting. Interesting in a interesting kind of way. I don't know if you guys have been watching the situation with the ICC. The International Criminal Court, just to back up a second, the Hague, the ICC, rulings by the ACC, the United States does not recognize, okay? Countries like North Korea, they don't recognize as well, which is why, because according to the ICC, Vladimir Putin and Bibi Netanyahu are both war criminals, right? Subject to arrest if they were in a country that recognized the ICC. The US and North Korea do not, for example. So when Putin showed up in Alaska, the ICC couldn't arrest him. Now, there's a reason that Bibi doesn't go to other countries. There's a reason that Putin doesn't go to other countries, because if he were to go there, he would be arrested. Okay? So Bibi Netanyahu, Zohran Mamdani famously said if Bibi shows up in New York, Mamdani said he would follow the law, whatever that means. The United States is threatening sanctions unless the court pledges not to prosecute Trump. Now, I want people to think about this for a second, right? You're going to threaten sanctions against the ICC, the Hague, and other countries involved, unless the court pledges not to prosecute Trump, which would tell you what? Which would tell you that they would consider prosecuting someone for war crimes. And then the only way for this to go away in MAGA's mind, in Trump's mind, is to try to leverage sanctions against them. President Trump's administration wants the ICC to amend its founding documents to ensure it does not investigate the Republican president and his top officials, a Trump administration official said, threatening the new U.S. sanctions on the court if it does not comply. If the court does not act on this U.S. demand and two others, dropping investigation of Israeli leaders over the Gaza war and formally ending an earlier probe of U.S. troops over their actions in Afghanistan, Washington may penalize the ICC officials and could sanction the court itself, the officials said. Why would you need to do that if you haven't done something wrong? Remember this famous statement by Steve Bannon a little while back?
And I will tell you right now, as God is my witness, if we lose the midterms and we lose 2028, some in this room are going to prison, myself included.
Well, don't tempt me with a good time. Maybe that's what he's alluding to. Ever think about that? If you've done nothing wrong, then why? If you've got nothing to hide and you're transparent and you've done nothing wrong, and you feel like you're the victim, then why would you be suing the BBC? Why would you be suing the Pulitzer, the Pulitzer Agency? Why would you want to sue the ICC? Something just doesn't smell right to me, right? Something just doesn't smell right. Anyway, hang on one sec. All right. I want to talk now about the Christian nationalist, national security policy that was rolled out by the White House recently. I found this creator, Beat Fine, that I really like, and I think his breakdown is great. And then I'm going to add some context after that. Everybody keep tapping and sharing, please. Liking is loving, tapping is clapping, sharing is caring. Don't forget there's a gifting goal, and don't forget we are crowd-funded here. Thank you for following us on YouTube. Thank you for following us on Twitch. Don't forget super chats are enabled, and I appreciate y'all very, very much. Here you go.
The country's new national security strategy, which has sent a chill across Europe's political capitals. And the document takes aim at what it calls, quote, Europe's civilizational erasure. So they say, over the long term, it is more than plausible that within a few decades at the latest, certain NATO members will become majority non-European, basically saying Europe might not be white enough to be a reliable ally. I mean, it's the only way you can interpret that.
It's a really bizarre document. It's incredibly strange. It's utterly absurd. Has any country ever published a national security strategy replete with white nationalism? It's insane.
The United States is now in a state of war with Europe. That's the only...
Nope. Hang on one second, guys. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. I'll start this from the beginning.
Strategy, which has sent a chill across Europe's political capitals. And the document takes aim at what it calls, quote, Europe's civilizational erasure. So they say, over the long term, it is more than plausible that within a few decades at the latest, certain NATO members will become majority non-European, basically saying Europe might not be white enough to be a reliable ally. I mean, it's the only way you can interpret that.
It's a really bizarre document. It's incredibly strange. It's utterly absurd. Has any country ever published a national security strategy replete with white nationalism? It's insane.
The United States is now in a state of war with Europe. That's the only way you can interpret the events of this week. The new National Security Survey of the United States writes off the European Union, writes off the possibility of new enlargement in NATO, writes off any possibility of American forces ever entering Ukraine, and writes off the chances of any European country that tries to do so in its stead.
Не собираемся воевать с Европой, я уже об этом 100 раз сказал. Но если
there's a translation from Vladimir Putin, but you get the idea. So I was really curious about how much this particular document, let me bring up Paul first, and then we'll talk some more. Good morning, sir. How are you? Hey, how you doing?
Oh, I'm good, man. It's just so sad
that there's so many racist pieces of shit in this country that they would rather burn this country to the goddamn studs than vote for a fucking black woman. They'll blame CRT and DEI. They'll worship a fucking racist piece of shit podcaster who's burning in hell. But they'll rejoice when Rob Reiner, who said some bad things about their orange Jesus, somehow that's perfectly fine. They'll go to Starbucks and cry like little bitches. Oh, say his name, put his name on a cup. Freedom, freedom, freedom. God's coming. I mean, Laura Loomer, did you see what Laura Loomer said yesterday?
I might have missed it.
It was basically the same thing. She was rejoicing, basically saying that he deserved what he got just because he said some bad things about her orange daddy. I know that people want to find common ground. I know that they want to get through this. But that's the reality is there's just some shitty people in this country, and maybe you disagree, and there's no redeemable qualities in them. Do you disagree with that?
Nope, I don't.
I feel like there's this group of people in this country that think that there's some finish line that they're going to say, well, okay, that was a bridge too far. I mean, E. Jean Carroll, Katie Johnson, Epstein Island, January 6th, felonies, tax fraud, white supremacy. I don't know what line they think the guy's going to cross that's all of a sudden going to turn them unless they lose their homes. I mean, why do you think they're still living in this delusion that some people think that there's going to be some moral line that they're going to cross, that they're going to just wake up and see the light?
Because they don't see it. They don't look at the world the way that we look at the world, Paul. They look at it through their white nationalist, Christian nationalist, racist, bigoted lens. That's how they see the world. I mean, it's not. This didn't happen overnight. I mean, you know that. It's always been there. I mean, you don't have to. Two white guys talking about it. Just ask any marginalized community. They know it's always fucking been there. Now they just feel they can say whatever the hell they want. They've been given license to drop every slur in the book, every horrible comment. That's why we don't need them. That's why we don't need to engage with them. We want to have conversations about policy. I'll have the debate all fucking day long. I'm not going to break bread with Nazis. Fuck no. Why should I? Why should any of you? If they want to have a policy debate, let's have a policy debate. Talk about it all the time. But we now have a national security directive that is connected directly to Project 2025. I did the work for you. I'm going to break it down in just a minute. But you're right. I
have a sister-in-law that won't talk to me because she's a whiny little twat. And she posted, and she's white, of course, and she lives in conservative Arizona, and she's a good little white Christian girl and white Jesus and white Christianity. And she posted this video like a year ago where it's these two white women in a neutral area, and they're smiling and saying, how can a conservative and a Democrat find common ground? And I'm sitting there like, I almost threw up in my mouth. Like, that conservative woman took away her rights, told trans people to get out of the military who honorably served this country. She's demonizing immigrants. She voted for a man who abuses women. And she wants to sit up there and say, well, I know I shit on your rights, but can we just smile while I have my gold cross and my Trump Bible? And can we just agree to disagree? Like, no, you don't get to shit on people's rights. Like, if you and I want to have, like, we disagree on stuff, but we care about people, right? We give a shit. But like, I like pepperoni, you like pineapple. I like the Niners, you like the Bears.
No, I don't like pineapple. But I got you. But I know what you mean. Exactly.
That's a difference of opinion. Now, if I tell you you can't have an AB, that's different. Like, women in Texas, for people that don't know, there's a 56% increased mortality. Like, they're detecting fetal abnormalities in embryos, and Texas is forcing these ladies to give birth, and they're passing away at a 56%. What am I supposed to? What is a conservative supposed to say? Well, that really sucks that you have to bury your infant, but you know what? It's just a difference of opinion. Can we smile and go have a movie together? Like, that's such bullshit. You're taking away people's rights, and you're negatively affecting their life and causing trauma that's never going to go away. They just want to smile with their white Jesus and say, well, that's my religion. But somehow voting for Pete Buttigieg, it's a bridge too far because he's gay. Like, it's sick.
I know.
All right.
I appreciate you, brother. Let's talk. I have an idea I want to run by you. Stay safe out there. Thanks
All
for
right,
being
bro.
here, man.
Later.
Talk to you later. All right, bye. Love Paul. So yep. I'm gonna invite you up because you said I'm just curious about something. You said I want to talk policy, but you're constantly bringing up racism when your policy talk fails. I want to talk policy. I really do. That's what I want to talk about. I'm not going to platform people who are racist, bigoted, and fucking neo-Yahtzee, white supremacists, bigoted, transphobic, homophobic fucking assholes. I'm not. You got plenty of spaces that you can go and hide in your safe space. I have no interest. If you want to come up here, we can disagree. You can be a Trump voter. You can be a Trump voter, and we can have a policy conversation. As soon as you lean into your bullshit and you're racist and your fucking dog whistles, then you're out. That's how it works. You don't like it? I don't fucking care. I'm not here to hold your fucking hand. I'm here to jam your face in the fucking river. Figuratively speaking. Lori, how are you today? Lori? Okay. So you guys remember we talked about this a while back about how so what I played for you about the national security policy and how it's shifted. We're going to get into that in just a second. Steve Witkoff is now Steve Witkoff, Marco Rubio, and JD Vance are in a little well, under normal conditions they would be in a lot of heat because they were coaching the sort of the language that went into this peace deal that was authored by the Russian government. There's no doubt about it because the national security policy that they've recently launched pays a lot of deference to Russia. And I'm going to play some sound. This is from the I've Had It podcast. You guys have probably heard this before. I want you to hear how she breaks it down because this is great. And we're gonna back it up with some more research that I did because I was curious about how if there's any overlap between what this policy stands for and Project 2025. And you'll be surprised to know that there's a lot of similarities.
Ass-kissing Russian rat right in the middle of the federal government. U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff has been into it up to his eyeballs for decades with Russian money. He is advocating for the best interest of Russia, not the United States.
I'm curious. Did you have a question about why I have nail varnish on?
Yes.
Why? Why does that bother you?
I'm asking you why. I never said it bothered me. I'm asking you.
Do you like it?
The color's too bright for me, but I mean it's pretty cool.
Yeah, more men should do it. What do you varnish your nails?
Sometimes black.
Okay. Color's a form of resistance, as is joy. If it gives you joy, why should it matter, right?
No, all I was asking is why the color. I'm not asking you. I'm not making fun of you.
I like the color.
I guess I'm more of a dark person.
You wouldn't wear a bright color? Why not?
I've never been too fond of the bright colors. I've always more like the darker blues, blacks, grays. I don't know.
Okay. So you would advocate for other men to do the same?
Wear dark clothes? Or
no, just wear to do whatever makes you happy.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's not bothering anybody, I don't really care.
Okay, well, why would it bother somebody?
I mean, you can see that some men / women get offended, if they see another man painting their nails, I guess.
Why would that? But why should that matter?
There's a lot of homophobic people out there.
There are, but why should it matter if you made that choice?
Oh, it doesn't. As long as it doesn't affect somebody else in a negative way.
But that's my point. Why would that matter if it affected somebody else?
Because other people's feelings matter. So
if you want, then I should be concerned about somebody else's feelings if I want to paint my nails?
No, of course not. Not if it makes it like in a negative way.
But why should that matter?
I don't fucking know. It shouldn't. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's your life.
Exactly. So then why would you bring that up when I asked about that? You said as long as it doesn't offend somebody else. Why should I care if somebody is so soft that they get triggered if I choose to paint my nails?
You shouldn't worry about it.
I agree. So why did you, when I asked that question, why did you say it that way though? Like, why do you fucking care? Who gives a shit?
I care about I asked about the fucking color. You don't need to chimp out about it.
You don't like the color?
Yeah, that's the only reason why I brought up the color, bro.
Okay, but why do you care?
Because you invited me up. It's a fucking conversation. Hello?
No, but why do you care about the color?
Because blue is fucking, it's a very light blue. I asked about the color.
So you're triggered by the color.
Yeah, I hate blue.
Got it. So don't you think that's more indicative of you than it is of me?
Yeah, and that's what I said.
So you're offended by the color.
Sure. You gotta gaslight, you gotta have a conversation, pussy.
See, there it is. See, thank you it took you so long to admit you're so soft, scared, soft, and weak. Why did it take that long?
I ain't soft and weak. We can talk about whatever you want right now, bro.
You just called me a pussy. Why?
Oh, because look at the color, bro.
Because you're offended by it. Because you're scared, soft, and weak.
I'm not weak. I'll DM you my address right now, bro.
Okay. Does that make you tough?
Yeah.
It does. So you want to throw hands? You're so triggered by light blue.
I thought we just wrestle.
Hands?
We just wrestle. We don't have to throw hands.
Cool. Can you tell me what you had for breakfast today?
Oatmeal.
Nobody fucking cares. You see what I mean? You see what I mean? Like, I mean, come on. I love to wrestle. Sure. But you're not my type. Just not my type. Can you imagine being that? Can you imagine being that soft that you get triggered by something like that? Like, what? I don't understand. I don't understand why it's such an issue for so many people. My God, we could wrestle. Bro, I appreciate that, but I don't think you want to wrestle with me. I could sell tickets for that. Hi, Jen.
He wants to wrestle. He wants to wrestle you.
Hey now. Exactly. He wants to wrestle.
I just wanted to come up and tell you that what he called you, that P word, I think is a compliment because that organ is an amazing organ. That thing will take a beating and come back stronger than ever. However, if you turn it the other way, to the other sex is genitalia, that won't take a beating at all. And I'm talking about from a medical standpoint.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, we expose them, pretty easily, as a matter of fact. But to me, it's just more like, why would you get offended by something like that? I mean, if people, you know me pretty well, Jen. Do they think I'm really going to get offended by something like that? Like, it's not going to bother me at all. It proves more who they are than who I am. But whatever.
I just think that gentleman should just come out of the closet and be free to be who they are, because anybody that offers to send you their address to wrestle you.
Yeah, I know.
Just saying.
It's a good point. It's a good point. I mean, talk about a fundraiser. Thank you for being here.
All right.
I appreciate you. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
All right. Bye. It's a good point. You want to call somebody a pussy, then that's a compliment. Certainly. Anyway, I digress. So we were talking about how the Trump administration, in particular, Steve Witkoff, who's negotiating this Russia-Ukraine peace deal, is in it for himself and others. So I'll play the sound and we'll talk about it.
Behind the State Department's back. This is stunning espionage and treason coming out of this Trump administration, which surprises no one because Trump himself is always bending over to Vladimir Putin. Put this up. Adam Cochran tweets, wow, the leaked call logs show both that Witkoff committed treason by advising Russia how to get their way by outmaneuvering President Trump, and the, quote, peace proposal was authored and sent by the Russians, meaning that J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, and Steve Witkoff have all lied about this. Katerina Lusanova goes on to say, we now have an official leak confirming that the so-called peace proposal was completely fabricated by the Russians. The crazy part, the U.S. government even pretended to be the authors of this document, and it was so obviously Russian. Pumps is back from vacay. Pumps.
Well, this is absolutely stunning, but like you said, it's not.
I'm sorry. Somebody just said, as we were just having a previous conversation, a particular organ takes a licking and keeps on ticking.
Hey now.
Indeed.
Not surprising. what is so fascinating about it is that J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio are in on it. They too, because we know Putin has shit on Trump, so Trump's never going to go against him. We know Witkoff is in it up to his eyeballs. Now we see J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio.
Let me clear up some of the fuzziness here. They weren't necessarily in on the initial collusion with Russia. They're in on the cover-up.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
They covered it up instead of saying, we have been hoodwinked, we can't do this. They doubled down on it. And it just, to me, it further confirms nobody has any conviction about anything in this administration. All they want is to do whatever they can to make rich people richer, and nobody gives a shit about the average U.S. citizen.
Moving along here is audio on Air Force One when Kanks was on his way to, of course, Palm Beach, Mar-a-Lago for the long weekend, asking him about Steve Witkoff's espionage and treason with Vladimir Putin and the Russians. Play the audio.
That Bloomberg has of Witkoff coaching the Russians on how to appeal to you and get on your good side?
No, but that's a standard thing, because he's got to sell this to Ukraine. He's got to sell Ukraine to Russia. That's what a deal maker does. You got to say, look, they want this. You got to convince them with this. That's a very standard form of negotiation. I haven't heard it, but I heard it was standard negotiation. And I would imagine he's saying the same thing to Ukraine, because each party has to give and take.
Okay. Number one.
Okay.
The president says.
First of all, that's wild. That's just wild. Like, oh yeah, it's standard to have a person who doesn't even technically work in the government. He's just out there negotiating, speaking to high-level Russian officials on settling a war that they invaded, and the language in this so-called settlement agreement pays serious deference to them. But yeah, that's just standard. Okay, got it.
Gotta sell this to Russia. That is such a stunning thing for a sitting U.S. president to say, we've got to sell.
Exactly. So what we're discussing, right, is this 28-point deal that basically opened up the Donbass, the Donetsk region of Ukraine, and parts of Western Russia to foreign investment. Gives money back that the EU was able to capture sanctioned Russian money, right? Give them their money back, allows them to replenish their military, and then opens up parts of Russia and Eastern Ukraine to Europe, to Western investment. But again, nothing to see here. Here's the problem. When you are talking about this foreign policy directive that obviously pays deference to the Russian Federation, and it certainly does. There's no doubt about it. It also connects deeply to Project 2025. So let's start with some of the language being used. Let me find if I can find the right piece here, because I want to go through this section. I did a lot of work on this. Okay. Redefining national security to include culture and morality. Strategy explicitly treats cultural cohesion, family structure, faith, and national identity as security assets. Never before seen in a national security directive. Sharp departure from decades of NSS documents which focus on military, economic, and diplomatic power. It blurs the line between state security and ideological governance. It opens the door to government privileging certain cultural or religious frameworks. You think? NATO, the EU, and multilateral institutions are discussed in instrumental terms rather than as core strategic pillars. Burden sharing is framed as reform and more as conditional anticipation, or participation, I should say. Critics concerned because allies are fearing there's a commitment ambiguity which weakens deference, and then U.S. credibility relies on predictability, not just capability. Minimal emphasis on democracy and human rights. Democracy promotion, rule of law, and human rights, once central, are largely sidelined. United States foreign policy, national security initiatives who focused on things like, soft power, diplomacy. Now, democracy promotion, rule of law, and human rights, once central, are largely sidelined. Autocratic partners are treated pragmatically as if they only if they serve U.S. interests. So if you're an autocrat and you want to do something that's going to benefit the U.S., then we're all in. This abandons a long-standing bipartisan consensus, and it weakens U.S. moral authority and soft power. Migration framed as a national security threat. Where have we heard that before? Large-scale migration is explicitly described as destabilizing and exploitable by adversaries. This framing elevates immigration policy into the security domain. It risks militarizing immigration enforcement. Shocker, echoes language historically used to justify exclusionary policies. Near absent of Russia named as a threat. Every national security change and or directive and or revision of policy always talks about Russia, China, and then our autocratic adversaries. Not this time. Nope, not this time at all. Russia is not treated as a central strategic adversary despite ongoing conflicts. China is framed more as an economic competitor than an ideological one. It signals disengagement from European security and creates strategic ambiguity that adversaries may exploit. So, question then about Christian nationalist rhetoric. There's some overlaps, and these overlaps come from Project 2025, and we know the Department of Defense is headed up by a Christian nationalist, a guy who supports people who think that slavery is no big deal and that owning people is totally fine, depending on the day of the week. It references religious liberty, it references spiritual confidence and moral foundations of the nation. In the past, that they've never touched on that. It's always been about military and economic. So the lines are being blurred. And this comes from Project 2025. We talk about things in terms of this context because this is what Christian nationalists see of America. They do not care about history. They do not care about our allies. They don't care about diplomatic partners. They don't care about economic partners. They care about protectionism, isolationism, and then cordoning off white America. That's what Christian nationalists want. They don't want diversity. They don't want a society that's equitable. They don't want a society that's inclusive. Christian nationalist movements often frame the U.S. as a Christian civilization under threat. While the NSS avoids naming Christianity directly, it mirrors this rhetorical structure. This is it's like dog whistle adjacent, I guess you could say. You wouldn't put, if you weren't trying to reshape U.S. foreign policy to whitewash things we've done in the past, you wouldn't include language like Western civilizations, cultural inheritance, or foundational values. Family structure and social order. The NSS, the new security document, links strong families, social stability, and national resilience because Christian nationalist ideology often treats traditional family structures as state interests. The NSS does not legislate this, but legitimizes it as a security concern. Again, dog whistle adjacent. I am really, really concerned about this document in particular because this potentially shapes U.S. foreign policy for decades to come. The impact that this is going to have on allies, and not even allies, trading partners, global trade, global stability. The EU there's talk about the EU removing or limiting or cutting investments into the U.S., treasury bonds, et cetera, that will cripple the United States economy. Who benefits from it? Autocrats. Who benefits from it? The rich. Who benefits from it? People with means. This is a scary thing. We're gonna get into this a little bit more in just a second, but it's important that we talk about it because this has got to be covered. And I don't know why people are afraid to discuss it. Because not that people are afraid, but just the connection to Project 2025. Because to me, everything points back to Christian nationalism. It just does. You've got, the sect def being influenced by people who do not want women to vote. They do not want women to have a place in our society. They certainly do not want black people and marginalized communities in general to have any rights, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll talk about it a little bit more in just a moment. There's a few other things I wanted to bring up too. I think I see Nanette requested. Good morning, Nanette. How are you today? Good morning, Nanette. How are you today? I could have hypnotized her, but I chose not to. No. Well, if you're a Red Sox fan, you know the history of that. Oof, the curse. Good morning, Tootle. How are you, buddy?
Morning. I'm doing great. I was totally expecting you to subliminally add some thoughts to Annette.
I was thinking about it, but I decided not to.
Be less evil. I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
With the NSS and all that, we definitely want to look less evil. And this document is just horrible. It's like
horrible.
It's like sending us back before the World War II international system of everything.
It does.
And you're probably going to cover it next, but where it talks about, of course, we're leaving Europe, but we're moving back to spheres of influence. So back before World War II, countries would dominate smaller countries near them. And the whole section of this document about what we're going to do to Latin America is just that. Is we're no longer going to work on law enforcement issues for the South America, Central America, and that's playing out in the with the boat strikes. It's not about law enforcement; it's about domination, and of course, it's also about economic opportunities for Trump and his buddies.
Oh, absolutely. To me, that's what this is the underlying elements of it, because the more deference you pay to Russia, this is why Putin's been working Trump like a fucking puppet, the more opportunities that his billionaires and investors are going to get, because they see the mineral-rich Eastern Ukraine. They see massive opportunities to gain more wealth when they release some of the funds that have been seized by the European Union, Russian money in particular. It's fucking crazy. It's crazy.
It's insane. We are literally becoming Russia 2.0.
Absolutely.
It's like, they say we're an authoritarian, whatever, but we're really a kleptocracy. Like how Putin is set up after the fall of the Iron Curtain and the fall of the wall. He set it up for his authoritarian, but all his buddies stole everything. I heard one thing mentioned about this document. I don't even know if it's actually the number of it, but the critics are calling it NSC 88. And they said it could be written in 14 words. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for jumping in today, bro. I appreciate you. Good to see you.
Yeah, you take care, my friend.
See ya. Be well. Again, I don't, I'm not a foreign policy wonk. I just know what I know. And when you compare what this document is, and Tootle's right, this goes back to, before this to me aligns with this belief that if it fits right into the whole like I talked before, the isolationism and protectionism, and we know coming off of World War I, right? The reason that the Reich was able to rise again is because of the same type of approach to foreign policy, in particular Europe, by the United States not willing to hold Germany accountable to the Versailles Treaty, which allowed the German military to rebuild, which allowed the German economy to rebuild without any eyes on what was happening. So again, just think of it this way: part of this policy allows Russia to get territory that they didn't even take. It allows them to get their money back, allows Vladimir Putin to continue to enrich himself, allows American investors to invest in the territory that Russia claimed, and not only in Ukraine, but in Russia. How can anybody be okay with that? Don't forget, MAGA, you guys watched Red Dawn when you were kids. You cheered on the USA hockey team. You were psyched that Rocky beat up Drago. And all of a sudden, because Trump told you that Russia's not so bad, now you're trading it. Because again, you can't ever claim to be a patriot again. You can't. You should be MAMA, MMAA, MMAG, make Moscow great again, MMGA. Seriously, the writing is right there in front of you. You've sold your soul to get what? What's in it for you? Like what is in it for you? You just want to be on the winning team? Come on. Don't make it so obvious. Don't make it so obvious. Just say that you're a simp. It's just easier. So let's go back to the summary. So some of the controversial language that I found in there, God-given natural rights. Why would God-given natural rights be in an NSS? It wouldn't be. Project 2025. The laws of nature and nature's God. Supporters of this would say that it's classic, natural rights, declaration framing a moral basis for limited government and liberty. Critics, including secular, liberal, and church-state groups, reads like a religious test for legitimacy and a step toward privileging a Christian-infected public philosophy, even if it's not explicitly Christian. And the Christian nationalist adjacent readers often see this as validation that America is grounded in a divinely ordered moral system. So think about that, right? People who are cheering this on, people who are cheering this document on, are highly recognized and known and part of Christian nationalist rhetoric and organizations. Is that who you want to align with? This is why I say, right, that the Trump administration became the tool, like the tip of the spear for the Christian nationalists behind the scenes, using the weakness that is Trump, using his narcissism, using his gullible nature, and then allowing him to double down on his cruelty, because it is a choice, allowing him to just be as hateful as possible, and that they will just pray it away. Fine, nothing to see here. It's totally fine. Don't worry about it. We don't care what they have to say in Africa, those shithole countries. We don't care what they say in Europe if they disagree with us. We don't care about the rights of marginalized. We don't care about any of it. We don't. We just want the Christian nationalist takeover of our country. That's what we want. And they show us every day. They show us. Yeah, just pray it away. You can't, there's no possible way you could ever be supportive of this. I am Ziggy. How are you?
Yo, it was good. How are you?
Why do you think the Democrats are hateful?
Because of history.
Because of, like, what do you mean by history?
The Democrats' history of segregation.
You mean the Dixiecrats?
The Democrats' history. Altogether.
You mean the district? You mean the Dixiecrats?
Were they called Dixiecrats or Democrats?
Well, Dixiecrats. Do you know? Are you aware of the ideological shift, the party switch? Are you aware of that?
I'm aware of people trying to explain that, but it's not true. People make up dates. What date do you think they switched?
Wait. Well, it's evolution. It happened pre-civil rights and then through the civil rights movement. So, are you not aware of that?
Okay, so after. Yeah, I'm aware. I'm aware of.
Okay, so tell me what you know about it.
There were still Democrats and Republicans, except Democrats were back then. They were more conservative.
It's conservative and liberal. So the part.
Yeah, I'm not talking about conservative and liberal. I'm talking about Democrats and Republicans.
Again, but it's an ideology because Republicans in our country used to be liberal and Democrats used to be conservative. So ideologically, people shifted. So the question I have for you is, if you look at the electoral map, right, the South used to be dominated by Democrats. Again, during this entire process of the party shift and the ideological shift, you started to see that, which is why you saw segregationists who were Democrats join the Republican Party. Why would that be if there wasn't a party switch?
Yeah, because Republicans always been the ones that do mostly the right thing, no matter if they're liberal or conservative. They're free to say. Even now they try to free us from the government control.
Wait, the Republicans are doing the right thing now?
Yes.
Like, give me an example of the right. Try to be specific. Try to give me a specific example.
Well, first of all, they're trying to clean up all our food, get all this mess out of our food, all these dyes and unhealthy stuff. They're trying to get. Yep, they're trying to get to the bottom of autism, trying to find out where the source is coming from.
So they're lying about that, though, right?
Lying about what?
Well, RFK's changed his story about vaccines and Tylenol like numerous times since he made that public statement.
No, I looked that up. He didn't at all.
No, he has. He's made that claim.
Is he not trying to take the food dyes out of food?
I think that's great. Sure, that's been going on for a long time now. I think that's great. That's not. I wouldn't say that's a Republican. That's just a public health issue.
How about trying to find out if vaccines cause autism or not?
Well, they don't. Once again, that's a lie that's been told to you. How about healthcare? What are Republicans doing about healthcare?
Yeah, when in healthcare, because I'm from like a poor neighborhood. So when we supported Obama, we voted for Obama.
No, I'm asking you, what are Republicans doing about healthcare?
They're trying to fix it because the Obamacare was a mess. I had Obamacare and it cost me so much damn money. And Obama fined us. I didn't have healthcare. I was getting fined because I didn't have healthcare.
That's actually not true. That came from the Republicans. We can talk about that in just a second. So they've had 15 years. So actually, it's been 10 years. So the Affordable Care Act went into public policy January 1st, 2014. Since that time, so 10 years roughly speaking, but 15 years since it was signed. What have the Republicans done to fix it?
They're trying to lower the prices of drugs.
No, what have they done? What have they done? I don't want to, we're not talking about it. We're not going to talk rhetoric, okay? What have they done?
I'm trying to explain to you, they're trying to get rid of Obamacare and this mess, and they're trying to.
But those are good words, friend. Because don't forget, Donald Trump ran on repeal and replace. Republicans ran on repeal and replace. What have they done? So I'm on the ACA. So the subsidies expire at the end of this year. What are Republicans doing? Because you talked about Republicans are doing good things for people. Well, that's not what I've seen. Okay, so healthcare is pretty important. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. But
okay, so what are they doing about it?
You shouldn't force people to get healthcare.
I don't want to force people to get healthcare. I want everybody to have healthcare.
Yeah. So you disagree with what Obama did then, forcing people to get healthcare?
No, it wasn't forcing. It was giving people an option who didn't have it otherwise.
Okay, then why did he fine people if he didn't have it?
Once again, sir, I'm not going to lie to pivot the conversation. What are Republicans doing about healthcare? What are they doing?
I don't know exactly what they're doing all the way, but I know they're
not doing anything because they're not doing anything. They've had 15 years. Why have they not done anything?
What do you mean 15 years?
15 years. Obamacare was signed in 2010. Went into full effect. The one we have now went into full effect January 1st, 2014. They've had 15 years to come up with a better solution. What have they done?
Yeah, I haven't really looked into what they did to combat Obamacare.
They haven't done anything. Why would they have to combat Obamacare if they don't like it so much? Why wouldn't they just come up with their own?
I'm pretty sure they have.
By the way, you're pretty sure they have? Well, how about this? They haven't. Because if they did, look, hold on a second. If they did, then wouldn't we have it?
No, because it has to go through this big old chain of politics and be accepted.
Cool. So why haven't they introduced any legislation? Why haven't they? They just tried in the Senate, and people in their own party said, no, we don't like this. Why not?
I don't know why. I haven't looked into that part.
So you came up here saying that the Democrats are the ones that are harming people, and I'm saying there's no evidence of that at all. The argument then becomes, if Republicans are truly looking out for the middle class, then why do they continue to give tax cuts to the rich? Why do they want to cut Medicaid and Medicare? Why do they cut SNAP benefits? Why do they want to take protections away from marginalized communities? Why do they want to tell women what to do with their bodies? Should I continue?
None of that is true.
All that's true.
Who took SNAP benefits away? No one's SNAP benefits are taken away.
Yeah, they were in the big beautiful bill. There's a cut to SNAP benefits. Absolutely true.
Okay, how come no one's SNAP got cut off then?
Because the government was opened again. Republicans cut funding to these programs in the big beautiful bill, sir.
Have you read it? How come all the Republicans voted to open the government and all the Democrats voted to keep it closed?
Once again, why you're talking about what party is looking out for people more? My argument to you is, because every time I've asked you a question, you've not been able to answer. There's no Republican solution. There's no Republican solution for healthcare. There is none.
Okay, I'll give you that one.
Every single chance. Cool. Do you think we have a firearm epidemic in our country?
No.
You don't think we have a gun violence epidemic in our country?
Not at all.
2,600 children dying, the number one cause of death for kids. You don't think that's an epidemic?
Nope, not because of guns. It's because of people.
So, once again, okay, so people, how come are there people in other countries?
Yes.
Okay, how come they don't have the same issue that we have?
It depends on the population.
No, it doesn't. It depends on, it's a per capita. That's how you measure things.
Yeah, like
So are
if
there
if they
are there
have
people are there right? So hold on a second. Are there people in other countries?
yes,
Okay, so then we have more firearms than any country on earth, and shocking, the number one cause of death for children in our country are firearms. So why
yes,
aren't we doing something about that?
do you know more
Why
children die in those countries than America? You're just talking about guns, but more children die in those countries because they don't have guns. They get raped and all kinds of stuff because they don't have weapons to protect themselves.
you can prove that, right? You've got
They get taken advantage of.
Nobody hold on. Nobody would be that stupid to make a claim like that without be able to back it up. I mean,
Yeah, I just
nobody
did.
would be nobody would be that stupid to make a claim like that and not be able to back it up.
I did.
So you are that stupid?
Yep, I'm pretty stupid.
Cool. Good to know. Get the fuck out of here. What? Okay. Okay. It's hard sometimes to tell. Hang on a second.
Smart people don't like me.
It's hard to be able to tell sometimes what's a troll and what's not. Right? These people vote. Yeah, Jess, I just saw your note. That's where I was going, but that's didn't even need to get there. For people, you should read about the Southern strategy and you should read about the party switch. Okay, it's really not that difficult. You can just look at the electoral map. You can look at the people who fly. That's why I always say for people to have that debate. My suggestion would not be to make it about party, to make it about ideology, because the ideological shift is what changed, and the ideology moved with the party. Because you've got Lee Atwater and you've got Strom Thurmond and people like that who are fucking hardcore fucking segregationist racists, who were Democrats, conservatives, right? The ideology of the party was moving a little bit more left, so they left the party and became conservatives, and then you started to see the map change. Just look at the electoral map before the civil rights movement. It's not that difficult to see. It's really not. Liberals are the ones that have preserved rights, not conservatives. Liberals in the Republican Party used to be more liberal. So it's a liberal ideology, not a Republican ideology. Who flies the Confederate flag now? Who are these white supremacist groups affiliated with? What party? What party is standing shoulder to shoulder with white supremacists and white nationalist organizations? Who gets endorsements from the Triple K? Where does the America First movement come from? I mean, it's not that difficult to just look at your history. Okay? It's really not. Now, people want to talk about what happened in Australia. Horrible thing. I do not recommend you watching the video. It's horrible. People now want to say, oh, they got gun violence in Australia. Sure. No doubt about it. What's the number? 35 in the last 15, 20 years? What are we up to? Like 25, 50, 100,000 deaths via the hands of firearms? I mean, it's really, this is why we do these historical comparisons. This is why we do the work, right, friends? This is why we do it. To be able to draw these pictures. For people who just don't understand our history, they don't want to accept it. They want to say, oh, Democrats are the party, the Triple K, fuck. You want to put the label on it? Sure. But what's the ideology behind it? Who are those people supporting? You should look up Lee Atwater. You should research that and the influence he had over the Reagan presidency. I mean, LBJ was a Dixiecrat. Let's be real, okay? So I just think it's really important for people to read up on their history. Again, overfund public education, please, and then do it again. My goodness. Okay. I want to get back to this NSS document because, again, there's more things in here that are connected to Christian nationalism directly as it relates to Project 2025. Lee Atwater, Barry Goldwater. Yep. Exactly. You can look at all these things. Strom Thurmond, look into him. Find out what he had to say about segregation and integration, I should say. This will be fun. What'd you have for breakfast? Seriously, what'd you have for breakfast? Nobody cares. Can you imagine being so weak that your profile picture would be a racist, bigot, homophobe, transphobe, fucking Christian nationalist fuck, Charlie Kirk? Can you imagine? Can you imagine being that pitiful that would be the choice? You could do anything. You might as well do a picture of your fucking asshole. That would be better. That would be better. Chicken? Yeah. Okay. Yep. Okay. Anyway. Okay. Immigration as an invasion and civilizational stakes. Again, this is language from the NSS, right? The era of mass migration must end. We must protect our country from invasion, not just from unchecked migration. Invasion is rhetorical, emphasis on sovereignty and state capacity. Immigrants' rights and many centrists say the invasion is inflammatory. It securitizes migration and can justify extreme measures. Of course, we're seeing. And then the foreign policy traditionalists are like, mixing domestic culture war language into an NSS is a departure from the usual tone of grand strategy documents. Civilization erasure, and we want Europe to remain European. Dog whistles all throughout these things. Cultivating resistance inside allied countries, cultivating resistance for Europe's current trajectory within European nations. Claims about foreign entities trying to curtail our citizens' free speech rights, plus cynical manipulation of our immigration system to build up voting blocs loyal to keep foreign interests. Rooting out so-called DEI, radical ideologies that seek to replace competence and merit. Reestablishing conditions of stability within Europe and strategic stability with Russia. Reestablishing conditions of stability within Europe. So, you're right, Hector. Blaming Europe, but not Russia. Europe's got to get more stable so that we can do business with Russia. Okay. An expeditious cessation of hostilities in Ukraine and reestablish strategic stability with Russia. An expeditious cessation of hostilities in Ukraine and reestablish strategic stability with Russia. Make it make sense. Why is the language not directed towards our adversaries? Okay. How does it compare to Project 2025 directly? Project 2024 phrases something like this: restore the family as a centerpiece of American life and protect our children. Secure our God-given individual rights and heavy emphasis on marriage, family, work, church, and school. These are all in Project 2025. In the NSS, God-given natural rights, restoration of American spiritual and cultural health, and the need for strong traditional families, anti-DEI posture. Is it a stretch to say those two things run sort of hand in hand? Again, this is in Project 2025. Restore the family as the centerpiece of American life. In the NSS, restoration of the American spiritual and cultural health and the need for strong traditional families. Nothing to see here, though, right? Heavy emphasis on marriage, family, work, church, school as civil societal pillars. Restore the family as a centerpiece of American life and protect our children. That is from Project 2025, and shocker that it made its way into the NSS, but nothing to see here. Again, I don't like to have to bring these things up all the time, but it's fucking right here in front of us. There's a website that tracks the progress of Project 2025. Here it is. Here it is. It's now made its way into our national security strategy, calling out marginalized communities. We don't need Africa. It's becoming too woke. Okay. There's another couple that I wanted to read for you too. Cold War, the values conflict. In the National Security Documents from 1968, it explicitly framed the U.S. strategy as rooted in the fundamental values of a free society, contrasting it with Soviet systems. The same values as strategy, that same value as strategy move appears in the NSS when it ties long-term security to spiritual and cultural health and civilization cohesion, meaning that They're ignoring the economic and military. They just want to make it about being anti-woke, pro-nuclear family, which basically means that women don't have a place. Marginalized communities should stay in the shadows. The rights for others will just continue to be oppressed. God forbid you're a pregnant black woman in America under these conditions, you're fucked. I won't sugarcoat it. You know that. I don't know how we can possibly move on from this shit unless we are fucking involved. How then do we? How do we push back on this? Part of what we do every single day is to remind people that your voice truly does matter. We cannot tolerate this. We can't fix everything. We cannot fix our foreign policy tomorrow. We can't. We can elect people who can. We can change the narrative in our country that is currently fueled in hatred and cruelty and just celebrating people's suffering. We can't change that unless we're active. Very active. Mario, how are you today?
Very good, sir. How are you?
I can barely hear you. Are you driving?
I'm driving, and I'm driving. So I don't know if you hear the background.
Sorry,
but,
you're driving. I don't want to get the TikTok violation, sir. If you want to pull over and have a conversation, we can. Good morning.
Good morning,
All
sir.
American.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm all right.
What's on your mind?
Oh, I'm just I'm not coming up here to, throw no hate or none of that. I'm learning a lot listening to you, and I appreciate that. And there's a lot of things I do agree with, and a lot of things I don't. But
like what?
Well, here's the thing. I can tell that you're more informed on these things than I am. So that's, I can tell that. So I'm just here to, clarify, listen, learn. And I would just like, you got left versus right. Well, I'm not saying you, but, that's what apparently seems to be going on in this country is the left versus the right. And I am neither, okay? But... So since
what
I'm
does that mean? Are you an independent?
I'm not getting emotionally involved. That's what I mean. I'm not going to put my emotions into it. That way I can sit back and have a clear train of thought to what, I'm processing instead of getting all emotional. I keep my emotions out of it.
And so before you get on that road, then let me just ask you a simple question. What do you stand for, sir?
Really, I'm freedom, really freedom. That's what it comes down to.
What does that mean, though? But what does that mean? What does freedom mean?
Freedom to choose what I want to do. Freedom to be who I want to be.
For you? For you?
For every American.
For everyone?
Yes, absolutely.
So for women, too, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So they can choose to make their own decisions for their bodies, right?
Yeah. Because really, I love it how people chime in on that when I'm like, dude, you can't get pregnant. How do you get a voice in that?
Okay.
And so I get it. That's why I'm saying I'm not on either. I'm not picking sides. I'm seeking the truth. I don't want to get in a debate of, get my emotions and get entangled in the right versus the left. Because, man, there's a world of hurt coming our way, and we really need to help each other. We need to try to get to the bottom of this situation. People need to take their emotions out of it so they can see clearly. Because, a lot of things you're saying I agree with. I do. Most of the things you're saying I do agree with. But
what do you disagree with?
Well, there was just a couple of things, but not really.
Like what?
Like I'm trying to remember, because I'm caught up in this conversation. It's hard to talk and think. Like the DEI hires, that, and saying that See, and this is what I'm noticing, and I may be guilty of it too. Okay, I'm noticing that a lot of people are being racist, and they don't even realize they are being racist. That's the alarming part. Then so they don't even realize they're being racist. A lot of people don't, and I'm like, bro.
Do you know what DEI? Do you know what DEIA is, sir?
It's basically the level the playing field. So the so-called minorities, which I honestly think that white people we're only like 8% of the population. We're the minorities, really, but it's for
wait a minute. Wait. Hold on a second. Did you just make a claim in front of 1,500 people that white people are the minority?
Well, how many? Just look at the birth rate. Look who's being born. And see, like I said, I'm not emotional in this at all. So I'm not here to argue with you. I'm here to seek truth.
That would not, sir. That would not be truth.
Okay. Well, thank you see, that's what I'm here to find out. Really, I'm not here to argue or any of that. I'm here to find out the truth. And like I said, it's obvious you know more about this than I do. Obviously.
But why would you? But why would you make that statement? Like where did you come up with a number that because that's a white supremacist talking point, just to let you know. Where did you come up with that number that white people in America make up only 8% of the population? Where did you come up with that number?
Honestly, it was probably from a white supremacist. I didn't even know he was a white. Like I'm saying, there's a lot of people being racist and they don't even realize it.
Well, kind of like yourself.
Yeah, I guess so, because people don't know.
So you're a racist.
No, I'm not. But if I accidentally say something wrong,
no, you're a racist. Get the fuck out of here. Oh. Anyway. Yeah. Anyway. There's so many people that think like that. There's just like, I don't even know what to say, right? It's just I've gotten used to picking up on the dog whistles. There's time. I'm willing to have conversations with somebody, but there's just so many red flags that showed up there, right? Yeah. It's wild. Anyway, but yeah, we see it. I don't know what to call you. OHT.
Hey, how you doing, sir?
I'm fine. What's on your mind?
Pretty good. Just a quick question. Earlier you had a caller talking about insurance. I think you dropped them. We're talking about the Affordable Care Act. He was talking about how he had to pay if being fined for it. Wasn't it, maybe you could explain it a little better, but it's my understanding that Obama's original draft didn't include that. It was straight free across the board, and the Republicans were the ones that stopped it and said, no, we have to do this because
that's correct.
Right?
That's
yeah.
correct.
I just wanted. I was just hoping you could explain a little bit better than I can. Only so I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't even realize that or don't want to realize that. You know what I'm saying? They want to say Obamacare is bad.
That's part of it. And they, again, if I was to be critical of the Obama administration, what we currently have in the ACA is not even close to what it was initially drafted.
Correct,
it was initially drafted a hell of a lot closer to a Medicare for all model, where we all had a lot more affordable insurance. And of course, Republicans, because modern day Republicans don't give a fuck about the American people. They care about their corporate daddies and their corporate donors.
Right.
They would never try to do anything that would help millions of Americans. Instead, they want to intentionally harm them. And yes, I'll stand by that statement.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. You're an awesome show, brother. I appreciate you.
Thanks,
keep on going.
Appreciate you.
Learn a lot. Thank you, sir.
Thanks. See you later. Take care. Again, why, dude, McAfighter, you're not coming up with a Charlie Kirk profile, bro. Why would I bring you up here to spew your fucking bullshit? So no, the answer is no. In 20 days, 15 days, millions of Americans are going to lose their health care. All right. And I've got a summary for you. So this is the GOP's healthcare bill. They're supposed to be voting on it. I don't know when. Mike Johnson has basically alluded to the fact that there's no continuation of the ACA subsidies. No extension of that. The bill does not include the renewal of the COVID-era enhanced premium tax credits for people buying insurance on the ACA marketplaces, even though those subsidies are about to expire. Expands the association health plans. This is kind of like the new talking point. These plans let small employers, sole proprietors, or freelancers band together to buy insurance coverage as a group, which Republicans argue will lower costs through more bargaining power. I don't dislike that idea, because it creates almost a cooperative. I've just not seen how it's going to function. I don't hate that idea, because it puts people, especially like as a sole proprietor, right? As a small business owner, it gives collectively people that are outside of I agree. It's BS, Kathy. I agree. But I think in principle, if you're talking about provisions for small businesses, sole proprietors, and freelancers, there's something that has to be done there. So I'm not, again, I want healthcare. I'm not going to turn my nose up at everything just because it comes from Republicans. I just want to see how it's going to work. And I've not seen that. Pharmacy benefit managers, transparency, new reporting and transparency requirements for PBMs. The intermediaries that negotiate drug prices are included to push down drug costs. The bill would restore funding for CSRs, which are cost-sharing reductions, which help lower deductibles and out-of-pocket costs for ACA marketplace enrollees starting in 2027. It broadens tax-favored healthcare accounts, or HRAs, that employers can use to reimburse employees for medical care costs. And GOP leadership may allow for a floor vote on an amendment to extend ACA subsidies in some form, but its prospects are uncertain and likely to fail without bipartisan support. So we're at the cliff. This is Bill Cassidy, Bill Cassidy is a fucking physician. This is the same guy that voted to confirm RFK. He got lied to, and he's trying to put on a good front, looking for somebody to blame. Bill Cassidy is a doctor. Okay, this guy's a fucking physician. This is what he had to say.
Help on this, and sir, you're running out of time here. Do you really think you can get this done before January 1st?
Our problem is not with Republicans. Our problem has been with Democrats.
Right.
But of course...
Okay, let's address that real quick. No, the problem is with your party, Bill. You've had a decade and a half to try to come up with a healthcare plan, and you've never been able to do it. You've not introduced legislation. You've only said you want to repeal Obamacare, and you've not been able to do that either. It's you. The fucking burden falls to you to fix. You said you were going to do it, and you can't do it. You can only blame Democrats for so long, my guy.
They may say that about us. So what I am kind of searching for is a deal in which both have their concerns addressed. If you do that and you put this in place, you really have until the end of like March to get it done. Because with these kind of accounts that people have money in, they just save the receipts, they submit them, and they get reimbursed. It happens, this is what we do in my family.
No, dude, you've got the best healthcare in the fucking world. So don't you dare make a comparison. Don't you fucking dare. You are a Republican from Louisiana, one of the poorest states in America. By the way, 56% of all ACA enrollees live in districts represented by Republicans in Congress, and 78% are in states that voted for Donald Trump in 2024. Don't give me your fucking bullshit. Don't try to just diminish it by saying, oh yeah, just keep your receipts. No big deal. Fuck you.
We have a flexible spending account.
Yeah.
And so we can get this done, and I think we can meet the concerns both about the out-of-pocket, but also about the premium.
Really? Really? Look at this bitch boy. The fucking nerve. By the way, once you reach the pension line, which I think is 5 years, you're eligible for health care for life. That's what you get. Member of Congress, you get health care for life if you cross your 5 year, if you cross your pension milestone. Nothing to see here, though. Oh yeah, just save your receipts. No big deal. No big deal. No big whoop, as they say. No big whoop. I cannot believe how dumb Republican members of Congress think their voters are. They genuinely think that they are stupid. Not even marginally. They just flat out stupid. There's no possible way. You hear the talking point, right? You guys know me in healthcare. This is a big deal to me. You hear the talking point. Oh yeah, HSA, cool. I'll just put it in then I can spend my own money. And then you get the mediocre at best, 25 to 32-year-old men who think that they're invincible. I don't need insurance. I don't need it. You're the problem. You fucking same cowardice bullshit little bitch boys couldn't even wear a paper mask. You're afraid of that too. You're afraid of that too. You can't do anything to help out anybody else because you're selfish and you don't give a shit. And I ask why? Why does it need to be like that? Like why? Good morning, Emperor. How are you today?
I'm all right.
What's on your mind?
Sometimes people can be cruel by accident.
Do you think being cruel is you disagree? You don't think being cruel is a choice?
Not always.
How would it not be? How old are you, by the way?
5.
Okay, get out of here. Cruelty is a choice. Kristi Noem had a choice to make. She did not need to deport an American combat veteran who was wounded twice. That's a choice that she made. The Trump administration, Donald Trump made a choice to say the things that he said about Rob Reiner and then double down on it. Pete Hegseth made a choice by unaliving people who were in distress, shipwrecked, violation of U.S. law, international law, the Geneva Convention, and DOD policy. That's a choice. Republicans in Congress making a choice not to release the Epstein files in support of the survivors of these horrible crimes. That's a choice. Republicans in Congress made a choice not to pass legitimate healthcare solutions for millions of Americans. Millions of Americans. That's a choice. They decided not to do that. Those are choices. Cruelty is not just, the obvious signs of cruelty, like intentionally harming somebody. Cruelty could be in your legislation too, or lack thereof. Don't forget, Joe Biden said it best. Don't tell me what your values are. Show me your budget. Republican budget cutting Medicare, Medicaid. Republican budget cutting funds for social programs. Okay. You need some attention? I'll give you some. Falcon's got no followers. All right, let me just check out one thing here real quick. Hang on a second, guys. Oh, here we go. Speak of the devil. Again, my amazing Pucky Mod team. This is Mike Johnson just speaking just now. Speaking. Here we go. Again, in 15 days, ACA subsidies expire from tens of millions of Americans, yours truly included. Here you go. So the question is, it's hard to hear. The question is, Mike Lawler called it political malpractice to not allow the extensions of the ACA subsidies.
Well, Mike Lawler is a very dear friend and close colleague of mine. Ironically, weekend before last, I was in New York in his district on Long Island, and we were campaigning together, ensuring that he gets reelected. Mike Lawler fights hard for New York, as every Republican in this conference does for their district.
Oh, my God.
The districts are different. They have different priorities. And
Did he just say the Republicans fight for their districts? That's why when they're going back and having these town halls, they're getting dragged fucking mercilessly. Got it.
Yes, but we do have, there's about a dozen members in the conference that are in these swing districts who are fighting hard to make sure that they reduce costs for all of their constituents. And many of them did want to vote on this Obamacare, COVID era subsidy the Democrats created. We looked for a way to try to allow for that pressure release valve, and it just was not to be. We worked on it all the way through the weekend, in fact, and in the end, there was not an agreement, wasn't made. Now, everybody was at the table in good faith, and I certainly appreciate the views and the opinions of every member of this conference. But I will tell you one thing they will all join in unity on is voting for this bill that we've been discussing this morning, because, again, instead of just trying to assist 7% of Americans, this is for 100% of Americans.
Okay.
And we can...
yeah, the 7% or so, the 25 to 30 million Americans who are on the ACA, who really depend on those subsidies, fuck all of us. And a reminder, Mike, those people are in your fucking state. Louisiana, one of the highest participation rates in the ACA. Mike Johnson's district itself, one of the highest participation rates in the country. Fuck the 7%. Fuck the 20 million. Fuck all those people. The lie that we're going to tell is this is going to benefit everybody. No, it's not.
We can handle that and do that together. I hope that Democrats will come along with us. If they're serious about solving the problem and bringing down cost of health care, they'll all fully support it as well.
You don't need a Republican. You don't need one fucking Democrat, Mike. If your policy's so fucking good, it should pass easy, right? You don't need it. Unlike the Senate, you don't need any cooperation. You've got the majority. Pony the fuck up. Pony the fuck up, bitch boy. Pony the fuck up. Or no Jello for you tonight.
But I think you're going to see they're playing politics with this.
Who's playing politics with this, Mike? Who's playing politics? You have the fucking majority. You're the one that's been diminishing people. You're the one that's been lying to the American public every single day. You're the one. You're the one. Unbelievable. That's fucking wild. What a fucking child he is. Holy shit. It makes me so fucking angry, because here we are every single day saying, like, I'll go 10 toes down. The most bright red MAGA, Confederate flag flying, truck nut polishing American citizen in this country, who I oppose politically, ideologically, morally, across the board. I want them to have health care. I want them to have health care. I want their rights protected. I want their children to have access to higher education. I want their kids to have access to better jobs. I want housing to be affordable. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? You're going to sit there and lie to the American public? You don't need one fucking Democrat to vote for it. Your own party is not even going to support this. Because there are people in swing districts, 12 to 14 or so, whatever the number is, that need to have these ACA subsidies passed. And you're not going to do it. And American health care is going to, and lives are going to be affected every single day because of how fucking selfish you guys are. Unbelievable.
Hey, what's happening?
What's your name?
My name's Cody, 34, and I voted for Miss Harris.
Hi, Cody.
I just wanted to bring up, have you seen the CNN article on Susie Wiles?
So let me see. I saw something from Vanity Fair.
Yeah.
I've not read it.
Wild. Do you think that they're going to do something about that?
I don't know the story just yet. I will try to find some more details and report on it. But thank you for bringing it to my attention. I'll look into it right now.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. So what's the story? It's an interview with Vanity Fair. There's a quote. Let's see. So Susie Wilder responds, I must have missed this. Is there a story I can share, guys? Let me see here. Hold on a second. Apparently there's a little bit of, when you have to come out so vociferously. So Susie Wiles posted on X, the article published early this morning is a disingenuously framed hit piece on me and the finest president, White House staff, and cabinet in history. Significant context was disregarded, and much of what I and others said about the team and the president was left out of the story. I assume, after reading it, that this was done to paint an overwhelmingly chaotic and negative narrative about the president and our team. The truth is, the Trump White House has already accomplished more in 11 months than any other president has accomplished in 8 years. And that is due to the unmatched leadership and vision of President Trump, for whom I have been honored to work for the better part of a decade. None of this will stop our relentless pursuit of make America great again. Okay. Hold on. Let me pull up the summary here. Hang on one second. Okay. Thank you, Jen. Vanity Fair author Chris Whipple just revealed stunning details from his conversation with Susie Wiles, Trump's chief of staff. Here's what she told him. Wiles said she has read the Epstein documents and acknowledged that Trump's name is in them. Wiles said she urged Trump not to pardon the most violent January 6 rioters. He ignored her advice. She admitted Trump is looking for retribution. Quote, when there's an opportunity, he will go for it. She tried to convince Trump to stop score settling against political enemies after 90 days in office. That effort failed because Trump's desire for retribution never stopped. Wiles directly contradicted Trump's claim about Bill Clinton, saying there is no evidence Clinton ever visited the Jeffrey Epstein's private island. She described Trump as having an alcoholic personality. Wiles said her ability to work with him comes from growing up with an alcoholic father. The sportscaster Pat Summerall, I didn't even know that. On Vice President J.D. Vance, Wiles said he has, quote, been a conspiracy theorist for a decade, and that his conversion from Trump critic to loyalist was strictly political, driven by his Senate ambitions rather than principles. She described Elon Musk as an avowed ketamine user, an odd duck whose actions were often not rational and left her aghast. She called Budget Director Russell Vought a right-wing absolute zealot. Wiles defended USAID, saying that anyone who has paid attention to government knows that they do very good work. She said Attorney General Pam Bondi completely whiffed the handling of the Epstein files, explaining first she gave binders of information full of nothingness. Then she claimed the witness list or client list was on her desk. There is no client list, and it sure as hell wasn't on her desk. She said administration needed to look harder at deportation to avoid mistakes, referring to two mothers who were arrested and deported with their children after voluntarily attending routine immigration meetings. Wiles said, I can't understand how you make that big a mistake, but somebody did. She tried unsuccessfully to get Trump to delay major tariffs, citing a huge disagreement among his advisors. Wiles summed up Trump's governing mindset this way. He operates with a belief that there is nothing he can't do, nothing, zero, nothing. Well, there you go. That's really, really interesting. And again, Susie Wiles' statement, again, is this. The article published early this morning is a disingenuously framed hit piece on me and the finest president, White House staff, and cabinet in history. Significant context was disregarded, of course, and much of what I and others said about the team and the president was left out of the story. I assume after reading it that this was done to paint an overwhelmingly chaotic and negative narrative about the president and our team. The truth is the Trump White House has already accomplished more in 11 months than any president has accomplished in 8 years, and that is due to unmatched leadership and vision of the President Trump, for whom I have been honored to work for the better part of a decade. None of this will stop our relentless pursuit of make America great again. Notice she didn't deny anything that she was quoted as saying, right? Interesting. Interesting. Well. How do we want to interpret that? I don't think he's on a retribution tour. She said a governing principle for him is I don't want what happened to me to happen to somebody else. And so people have done bad things, need to get out of the government. In some cases, it may look like retribution, and there may be an element of that from time to time. Who would blame him, though? Not me, says Susie Wiles. So all this talk I said about accusing Letitia James of mortgage fraud, well, that might be one retribution. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, she didn't deny the quotes. So she didn't deny what she said. She just said, yeah, the framing was bad. That's Susie Wiles. She is the chief of staff. Wow. She tried to convince Trump that score settling against political enemies after 90 days in office, that effort failed because Trump's desire for retribution never stopped. There are quotes in here, right? Holy fuck. I'm going to read through this article tonight and we'll talk about it some more tomorrow. But she described Elon Musk as an avowed ketamine user and odd duck whose actions were often not rational and left her aghast. She called Budget Director Russ Vought, quote, a right-wing absolute zealot. Wiles defended USAID by saying, quote, anyone who has paid attention to government knows they do very good work. Quote, she said, Pam Bondi completely whiffed the handling of the Epstein files, explaining, quote, first she gave binders full of nothingness. Then she claimed the witness list or client list was on her desk. There is no client list, and it sure as hell wasn't on her desk. This is fucking crazy. Holy shit. I'm just kind of thumbing through this a little bit here. Trump said, we often spoke on Sundays after church. Wiles, an Episcopalian, calls herself Catholic Light. One time we spoke while she was doing her laundry in Washington, in her Washington, D.C. rental. Trump, she told me, quote, has an alcoholic's personality. Vance's conversion from never Trumper to MAGA acolyte, she said, has been sort of political. The vice president, she added, has been a conspiracy theorist for a decade. Russell Vought, architect of the notorious Project 2025 and head of the office of OMB, is a right-wing absolute zealot. When I asked her what she thought of Musk's reposting tweets about public sector workers killing millions under Schmittler, Stalin, and Mao, she replied, I think that's when he's microdosing. She says he doesn't have firsthand knowledge of any of it. Holy fuck. Okay. Well, I'll dig into that for you guys. Thank you, mods. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, everybody. You guys are great. Susie Wiles is a great friend, mentor, and architect behind President Trump's successful first months in office. I'm grateful for her unwavering commitment to the president, America First ideals, and supporting the American worker. This obvious hit piece is simply another. Susie, this is from Russ Vought. Susie is an exceptional chief of staff. I have had the privilege of working in President Trump's White House for every single minute of his 2 terms. Let me be very clear. It has never worked this well or been more oriented towards accomplishing what he wants. Here's the protection. Now they're jumping on in. Now they're going to have to step in and defend it. Wow. Ah, shit. This is crazy. This obvious hit piece is simply another desperate attempt from the mainstream media to attack President Trump and distract from the important works of his historic administration. Our momentum will not be stopped. She didn't deny the claims. She just said it was framed improperly. I don't know how you move away from statements that you made. Like, how can you run from a very, very pointed statement? Wiles said she has read the Epstein documents and acknowledged that Trump's name is in them. She urged Trump not to pardon the most violent J6 rioters. He ignored her advice. She admitted that Trump is looking for retribution. When there's an opportunity, quote, he will go for it. She tried to convince Trump to stop score settling. Wiles directly contradicted Trump's claim about Bill Clinton, stating that there is no evidence Clinton ever visited Jeffrey on his private island. She described Trump as having, quote, an alcoholic's personality. Wow. Oh, man. I've got some homework to do tonight. I will break that story down for you guys a little bit more because I'm sure that this is going to take the news today. Because once again, first of all, you're having a conversation with somebody. I don't know if it's on the record. I don't know if it's off the record. We don't know. This is what good journalism does. Vanity Fair has the story. We will be sure to post it in our Discord. Actually, it's already in there. It's interesting because it's a picture. Holy shit. It's fucking crazy. Susie Wiles, J.D. Vance, and the Junkyard Dogs. The White House Chief of Staff on Trump's second term. It's a 2-part series. I will read it tonight, and I'll go through it with you tomorrow. Susie Wiles is known as the enforcer, the architect of President Trump's 2024 election victory. Now his White House chief of staff is the daughter of famous sportscaster Pat Summerall. As Wiles explains, her father was an alcoholic, so she knows how to deal with difficult men with big personalities. Quote, I make a specialty of it, she says with a laugh. As the crisis of Trump 2.0 piles up, from Signalgate to revenge and retribution to the Epstein files to alleged war crimes in the high seas, Wiles has worked at the center of the storm. A Trump whisperer who sees it all, quote, I am entering my 9th year altogether, my 5th year day to day, she says, of working with Trump, so it's hard to surprise me. That's interesting. J.D. Vance, the heir apparent, once a fierce critic of Trump, who said he could be America's Schmittler. Vance said in 2016, the vice president is now his highest ranking acolyte, a 180-degree transformation that Wiles calls a sort of political. In the wake of his friend Charlie Kirk's assassination, Vance spoke of the festering violence on the far left, helping fuel Trump's campaign of revenge and retribution against political enemies. Quote, a conspiracy theorist for a decade, according to Wiles, Vance keeps a close eye on the views of younger voters. Stephen Miller, Trump's deputy chief of staff for policy and homeland security advisor, is the tip of the spear for the president's weaponized roundups of immigrants and the take no prisoners approach to alleged drug smugglers. Utterly loyal and a fierce protector of the president's secrets, Miller is a battle-tested soldier in Trump's war against the deep state. Says Miller, quote, we came into the second term fully, completely, and ready and prepared to contend with the bureaucracy and ultimately to impose democratic will onto that bureaucracy. More to come on this. That is crazy. Dan Scavino's in there. RFK's referenced. Caroline Leavitt's referenced. This is not going to end well for them. But we'll tap into it. I'll read it tonight. All right, I think it's a good place to stop, friends. Thank you all for being here. Oh, hang on 1 second. Let's see. I'm just reading real quick. We're good. MAGA's crumbling. They really, really are. Okay, friends. Thank you for coming back and appreciating us today. If I bring Kimberly up, who? I don't know who that is. We're going to rate RTP today. Tell me said hi. So again, I want to thank you guys for your support yesterday. I really, really appreciate that. You guys are amazing. You want to support the channel, like I said, best way to do that. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody who was kind enough to send in a contribution. To Jamila, thank you so much for all that you do. I appreciate you very much. Erica, thank you. Thank you, friend. I appreciate you. Thank you, Erica. Also to Kate. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Erica. Thank you, Kate. I appreciate you very, very much. Let me just check over here. If I missed your super chats today, guys, I'm sorry. I'll get better on that. My apologies. Julie, thank you so much for your kindness on Cash App. I appreciate it very, very much. And also over on the PP. Marinana. Interesting name. Beautiful name. $2. Thank you for what you do. I appreciate you for saying that. Okay. Programming note. Friday night, we will be doing our edition of Facts After Dark. Facts After Dark will be, the topic will be, actually, Bateman, you did request. I can bring you up if you want. Sure, I'll bring you up. Good morning.
Hello.
Again.
Yes, I wanted to apologize for earlier. I have been dealing with some issues at home, and I was very annoyed and cranky, and I took it out on things I shouldn't have said, and I do apologize.
Appreciate that. Thanks for being here.
Thank you,
Have
sir.
a good day. Be safe. You got it. There you go. I love retribution. Friday night is our first episode of Facts After Dark in a while. It's going to be at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. The topic is going to be breaking the red pill. Are men capable of loving themselves? And I think it's a perfect topic for this week. I've been hard on myself this week, so I think it's a really good topic. I'm going to be joined by a couple of panelists, Ash and Artie. They'll be my co-hosts for that evening on Friday night. Again, 7 p.m. Eastern Time right here. We'll be back here tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time. We're going to go raid RTP. Tell them we said hello. I love you guys. You're awesome. Smartest chat on TikTok. Best mods in the business. Thank you guys very, very much. If you're over on YouTube, thank you for being here. If you're over on Twitch, thank you for being here. Friends, also, if you have not yet subscribed either to YouTube or to the Twitch stream, please do so. Don't forget, really cool items in the merch store, including some Christmas and holiday fairs. And the first link in my link tree, it'll say Tobias. That's my son. He's an artist. He's done most of my tattoos, and he's got his own collection, all of his stuff made by him. Please go check it out. Thank you, friends. I love you guys. As always, do something. Okay.